Good morning and welcome to our 169th weekly webcast. If this is the first time you're joining us on this webcast, welcome. If you've been with us before, welcome back. And so the way this call works is this is an AMA, meaning ask me anything. You can ask me business questions, career questions, personal questions, whatever you want to, so that I can humbly do my best to help you take your career or your company to the next level. So without further ado, let's begin and thank you. Now, one thing that's on everybody's mind right now is inflation. And there's a lot of concern out there that the government is going to raise rates quite a bit this year. And the market is already pricing that in. And we've seen shortages of many different products and devices that go into products like semiconductors, etc. And so the prices of a lot of these products have gone up materially as well, given the shortage. And the way to fight inflation is for the government to raise interest rates. And so let me go back in time to 1980, when you had Paul Volcker, who was the head of the Federal Reserve in the United States, meaning the person that controls interest rates. Back then, inflation was very, very high in the teens, way higher than today. Today, it's at 7%. And so what he had to do is he had to raise rates materially in order to cool down the economy, meaning make prices go down. And so what he did was he flew to Germany to meet with Helmut Kohl and other friends of his there that understand inflation thoroughly. Now, back after World War I, the German economy was in shambles. And the German government, they printed lots of Deutschmark, right, their old currency before the euro. And the problem with making too much money, which the United States has done over the past year or two, and many countries have because of COVID, the problem with printing too much money is what happens is the purchasing power goes down materially, to the extent that in Germany, after World War I, people had to literally take wheelbarrows full of Deutschmarks just to be able to buy a loaf of bread. And kids were playing with currency by putting it on the wall as wallpaper because it was worth nothing. And so the reason why there weren't many companies that were born or created or founded in the early 1980s was because Volcker, who's the Fed chairman at the time, had to raise interest rates close to 20% to control inflation. Because if we have rampant inflation, we don't have an economy. And so what the government is doing now is they're signaling to the marketplace that they're going to be raising interest rates quite a bit this year. The market is expecting at least 3 or 4 interest rate hikes this year. And if the government doesn't do that, then what happens is we don't have an economy in the long run because prices rise too much. So I want to show you how to monitor what the market is expecting for interest rates. And I'm going to go to a website in a second called treasury.gov. But before we go there, let me briefly explain how the government controls interest rates. So let me first of all say that if you go to a grocery store and you buy avocados every week, and the price of avocados is usually $1, and you go there and they're $3, you're like, what's going on? And so what you do is you go to the store manager of that grocery store and you ask them, what's going on with avocados? And they tell you, well, there's a shortage of avocados. There's a bit of a drought where we buy avocados. We get them from Mexico. I live here in California. So there's a drought, for example. And as a result, there are fewer avocados and the price of avocados has gone up quite a bit. So what, Chris? Why are you mentioning this? Well, the process works the same when it comes to interest rates. So the manager of the store of money is called the Federal Reserve in the United States. In other countries, it's usually called the Bank of whatever, like the Bank of Canada or the European Central Bank or the Minister of Finance in Japan. And so what the government does is, just like with avocados, if they decrease the supply of money, then interest rates go up. Okay, and I'll explain how it works. It happens through issuing bonds. So governments don't make enough money every single year to be able to, make sure the economy is floating through taxes. They can't make enough money through that. So what they do is they issue bonds. And so here's an example. Let's say that you're a consumer in the United States or any country, or you're an investment firm. I'm the government. I'm the United States government, the Federal Reserve. And so what I do is I want to raise some money because I want to build a bridge, defend the country, etc. And so what I do is I sell you a bond. Okay, you take the bond. There's an interest rate on it, which is nice. You take the bond, and in return, You give me your money. I'm the government. And I use some of that money to build, bridges, defend the country, etc. And some of the money I take out of circulation. And so with part of that money out of circulation, just like with avocados, the price of money goes up. And that's how interest rates change. Now, the market is really worried these days, especially the stock market, because of interest rate hikes. So let me show you how we can monitor that together. And so there's something called the yield curve. And if you go to treasury.gov, it's the United States government website, and then we go here to data, we can look at what's called the yield curve. And this is where the market prices what it thinks interest rates are going to be. And so you can look at this data going back many, many years if you want to. For example, if we go back here to 1992, we could see, and I'll click go here, we could see here that rates were really high. Like the 30-year rates on January 2nd, 1992 was 7.46%, and the 10-year was about 7%, and the 2-year was 5%. Remember that number, 5%. So if we go back to today, current month, we can monitor what the market is expecting for interest rates. And so if we go to the most recent day here, as of yesterday, meaning January 26, 2022, and we look at the 2-year bonds, okay, 2-year interest rates, we see that it's actually going up quite a bit. It's right now at 1.13%. And that's a big deal because at the start of this year, or on January 3rd, it was at 0.78%. And so that's a massive increase. The market is expecting the government to raise rates. Now, the government usually when they raise rates, they don't raise it by a massive amount overnight. They do it very gently. They raise rates by 0.25%, for example, which is called 25 basis points. And the market is pricing in that the government is going to be raising interest rates very, very soon. So what does this mean for you? Well, what this means is money's going to become more expensive for all of us, for everything. So when we get a mortgage to buy a house, the interest rate on the mortgage is going to go up quite a bit. And so what that means is fewer people will buy houses because the cost of money is higher, and therefore the price of houses will go down. It also means that a lot of people that borrow money to invest in the stock market won't be doing that anymore or as much because rates will be increasing. It's all about the rate of change, like in calculus class. And as a result of fewer people borrowing money to invest in the stock market, the market has kind of discounted that. That's why the market is down quite a bit, about 10% for the NASDAQ and the S&P 500 from the recent highs, which means market correction territory. And so, in a nutshell, the reason why the government has to raise interest rates is to make sure that the prices of all products don't go up and we don't have these supply constraints globally. And the smart thing about raising interest rates when times are good, and in hindsight, which is 2020, the government should have raised rates a lot more when times were better in 2016, 17, etc. If you raise interest rates, then what you can do to jumpstart the economy, when the economy is not doing well, you can cut interest rates. You can fire off a bullet, cut interest rates by 25 basis points, another by another 25 basis points or 50 basis points to stimulate the economy. And so there's two ways the economy or the government stimulates the economy. One is through changing interest rates, and the other one is stimulus programs. And unfortunately, the government can't cut rates anymore, and they can't really stimulate the economy much more through stimulus programs because they're running out of bullets. And so the bottom line is monitor the yield chart to see what the market is pricing in for interest rates, which are definitely going up around the world this year. Yeah. All right. And if it gets out of hand, like governments repeat mistakes over and over again. Like in 2008, in October, what happened was Zimbabwe was in trouble. And a lot of countries were. And so they raised interest rates to the extent that the daily interest rate increase at one point in the fall of 2008, in September 2008 to be precise, was 98%. And it happened also in Venezuela to the extent that they had to get rid of their entire currency completely a couple of years ago, and their currency was called the fuerte, which is Spanish for strong, ironically enough. And so they have to raise interest rates. They have no choice at this point in time. Yeah. And if anybody has questions about this, please let me know, and thank you. All right, get some coffee here. All right, I'm going to kick it off here with the first question which is from Peter, who's based in Romania. Great to see you. Peter is 19 years old. You came on the call a couple months ago. I remember you. So Peter wrote, "Hey, Chris, hope you're having a great day. Likewise, always great to see you. Lots of love here. I want to ask you, what do you think is the best way to make money on the internet for beginners or teens? Thanks." Yeah. So I would say teaching online is great. And of course, I'm biased because I bet the rest of my career on this. But if you teach something you're passionate about and you don't just do it for the money, you do something you love doing, then eventually the money will come. I promise you. And there's plenty of people that are younger that started teaching online that are doing incredibly well, way better than I'll ever do. You know, for example, Ninja. And my kids, my three boys are older now, but they love Fortnite. And so there's this guy named Ninja that plays Fortnite and he streams it on Twitch. And so he started out his career actually making courses on Udemy on how to stream Twitch or stream video games. And so you just got to find what you're passionate about and do it online. And there are wonderful stories of people that have gone from collecting unemployment insurance to teaching online that have done incredibly well. One woman in particular on Udemy, what she did was she was living off of food stamps. She was in an abusive marriage, and I spoke to her a number of times. God bless her. And she had the courage to leave that jerk that she was married to. She took her kids, and I think her name is Patricia. And what she did was she moved into this modest little apartment, living off of government food stamps. And she thought to herself, "What do I love doing?" And so she loves baking bread, which is prophetic. And so she started teaching how to bake bread online and on Udemy and turn her life around. And it's really inspirational. But if you teach online, you got to do it because you love doing it and because you want to help people. You can't just do it to chase money. You have to follow your heart and really want to help people realize their goals in life. And one of my favorite quotes is, "Don't expect to accomplish your dreams in life unless you help others accomplish theirs first." And so if you're here to serve other people and help other people, then I promise you the money follows, and it follows accidentally. It always does, no matter what anybody tells you. Because if you chase money, you lose your money and your dreams. But if you chase your dreams and you don't care what people think about your choice of your career, if you chase your dreams and you're willing to fail a bunch of times, which is cool because you only have to be right in business one time, but if you're willing to fail a bunch of times, something amazing happens. Your dreams come true and the money follows accidentally. It always does. I promise you. So I would check out online teaching if you get a chance. What you can also do is you can go to Fiverr.com. That's Fiverr.com. And what you can do is you can offer services there and get paid remotely. Doesn't matter where you live. Even little things like making a PowerPoint presentation for somebody or wireframe diagrams for an app. If you can do that or learn how to do that, and if you enjoy it, you can make a fortune on Fiverr. Or if you want to take your game to the next level, you can go to Upwork.com. All right. Next up, I've got Andre. Andre, how are you? Andre is in my MBA class. Great to see you, buddy. All right. Good morning to you too. Next up, we got Abel. How are you? So Abel wrote, "Hey Chris, I hope all is well. Likewise, I just finished taking your course on Udemy. I also got my certificate from you. Awesome, thank you for that. Do you think it'll help me if I include it in my resume?" Yeah, I mean, I think listing any courses on your LinkedIn profile will always help you. It can't hurt. It can't hurt. It's just like taking a certification for a programming course. A lot of people put that on their resume, and they have done so for decades. And even back in the 1990s, what I did when I worked in tech was I took a couple of Microsoft Development Network courses, and I put it on my resume, and it helped as well. It can only help. Okay, next up, Harsh wrote, "Chris, how do you find business ideas?" Great question. So I usually like to see the forest from the trees, to the extent that I ask myself, if I'm looking into a product or an industry, I ask myself, in 5 years, will this company or this industry be more relevant or less relevant than it is today? And so, for example, more people will be teaching online in 5 years. And so I am very bullish on that market in the long run. And so that's what I tend to do. I do it also for my short positions, meaning when I bet against stocks. For example, I have a prop here from an options course I released recently. In 5 years, will people be drinking more Coca-Cola or less? I would say less. To the extent that I think, and 28% of the revenue from Coca-Cola comes from Coca-Cola products, not just Dasani water and their other products. And I think the next generation is going to say to us, my goodness, I can't believe you drank sugar water. Kind of like my generation, said to our parents, I can't believe you smoke. And so in 5 years, I think products like this are going to be much less relevant. And that's why Coca-Cola diversified to get away from just selling sugar water, of course. But the bottom line is, you always ask yourself the 5-year question. Another thing I like to do when it comes to investments is I like to use the product. And there's a wonderful portfolio manager named Peter Lynch. And he wrote a book called One Up on Wall Street. And what Peter Lynch did when he managed the Magellan Fund at Fidelity for a long time was he and his wife would try out products. And if they loved them, then he'd do research on the company and consider investing. For example, his wife really liked these pantyhose products she bought from the drugstore. They used to come in this egg-shaped container. And I remember that well because my mom did that too, and I used to use those to store my Smurfs in it. I had a Smurf collection, like the blue background here. So they invested in that company and did extraordinarily well. And when I worked at Citadel many, many years ago, I remember my boss would tell me, he said, Chris, if you can't explain it, you don't understand it. And so the way to understand something is to use it and use it thoroughly. Now, in my MBA program, what I do is I provide you with a number of different templates. And you can download this, what I'm about to show you right now if you want to. So this template I'm going to show you is 100 steps to analyze any company. So I'm going to go to my website, harouneducation.com/EMS4-2, which means Economics Management Strategy Semester 4 Class 2 in my MBA program. And then what you can do is you can download this here. And what this is here is it's a workbook in Excel that will allow you to analyze any company in 100 steps. And then once you complete all 100 steps and answer about 1,000 questions in this Excel spreadsheet, which has no macros, no code, then what you can do is you can print out a 1-page report on the company you did due diligence on, or a 150-page report. So let me just go here. There's my messy desktop. And I'll go to downloads, quick key, option, command L. There we go, good. I'll open this up here. And so what I'm about to show you is based on decades of work experience I have, working on Wall Street at Goldman Sachs, working in the hedge fund industry at Citadel, working in venture capital, starting my own companies, my MBA from Columbia, etc. And so I put this together along with many other frameworks or tools in your toolbox in the Haroun MBA program so that you can do due diligence like professional investors do. And I'm a humble guy, but not when it comes to helping my students because I don't think a tool like this exists anywhere in the market. And so the way this works is there are 3 sections. And I apologize if you can't see it that well. Let me make it a little bit bigger, get more real estate here. There are 3 sections. Section 1 is qualitative research. Section 2 is quantitative research. And Section 3 is financial research. And so what you can do is you can click to the next step and run through all of this, next steps here, and enter a bunch of questions on qualitative, quantitative, financial statements, etc. And then what happens is after you complete all that, a detailed report is created for you. Now, what's also created, and this is 150 pages, what's also created for you is a 1-page executive summary. And so you can fill this in here. Actually, you don't have to. It automatically gets fed in based on the things you answer on the other tabs. And then what you can do is you can print this, okay? And down here I have your name at the bottom, which you can remove if you want to. And the reason why I have your name down here is because I want you to put this on the other side of your resume when you have a job interview. Or what I want you to do if you're interested in finance is create these 1-pagers and send them to people that will be very impressed with you. And the output is 3 sections. I love to look at fundamentals, then valuation, and then technical analysis, a distant third. Now, what you can also do here, and I run through this in a lot of detail in my classes, in my MBA program, is you can look at a dashboard as well. And this is just dummy data here I'm about to show you, but all the stuff that you enter in the mini questions I ask you in this spreadsheet, get fed into this. Okay, you got market share, geographic exposure, sector exposure, total addressable market, bill of materials, which is something that Intel's having a lot of problem with. They only have 5 days left of inventory. And then you've got GDP per capita. We analyze the macroeconomic environment of countries, that sort of thing. Okay, average selling price, Dow and Mao, and et cetera. And so all this stuff is part of that report, the detail report here as well. Now, on every single tab that you go through here, I've set it up so that there's a video for you, which I put on YouTube, okay? And it's on my website here too. And it explains how to use that tab from scratch. And again, this is Economics Management Strategy, one of the classes I teach.
Now to the T.A.M.
So I teach you how to do all that stuff there. So, for example, if I pick a random one here, let's go to Dow and Mao. Daily active users, monthly active users. You can click here and also see a video on that as well. So I put a ton of work into this. Again, it's in my MBA program. If you want to check out my MBA program, just go to learn.harounventures.com. And you'll see all my courses here, my MBA program, etc. right here. Yeah. And I have a 30-day, 100% money-back guarantee on all of my products. So you got nothing to lose and everything to gain. And thank you very much for the question. All right. The next question is, will there be a recession? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So the way it works is usually economic cycles are about 10 years long. Okay, you've got a bull market. Things are great. The economy is growing. And then the market contracts and we're in a recession. Rinse, lather, repeat. Usually about 10 years on average. And the definition of a recession is 2 quarters in a row of negative year-over-year growth, or contraction, I should say, in gross domestic product, which is the revenue for a country. So again, if revenue for a country or GDP goes down 2 quarters in a row year-over-year, then that's technically a recession. And so it's going to happen. Don't let anybody tell you this time it's different. And I think it was Sir John Templeton, God bless me, passed away, who founded Franklin Templeton. He said the 4 most dangerous words in investing are, this time it's different. There will be a recession, and soon. And that's when I love to buy stocks, because nobody else does. Next question I've got is from Zishan, wrote, hello, Chris, good morning. Good morning to you as well. And then we've got here Manas, who said, good morning, my dear mentor. Thank you, Manas. Great to see you as always, buddy. Chris, please. Hope all is well. You wrote, first of all, what's up and how are you doing now? And what are you working on now? Something exciting and new. Yeah, thank you. No, I'm doing great, thank you. So we're trying to push the goalposts out here and progress every year with this weekly call and with my business. So what we're doing is we're gutting this entire studio here that I have, okay? And I control everything with what are called DMX lights here, right? So everything is automated here. But what we're gonna do is we have a lot of cameras here. We're gonna push back against the wall and we're gonna set up a nice set with a logo in the background, all that stuff, so that I can bring people in here to interview them. And so one of the reasons I still live here in the San Francisco Bay Area is because I know a lot of CEOs from top tech companies. And part of my grand vision with my MBA product and this weekly webcast is to interview people here in my studio, and also to drive down 20 minutes to corporate headquarters in Silicon Valley and do kind of like an overview of what it's like to work there, like MTV Cribs. So that's something we're looking to do. We'll be doing it very, very soon. Of course, I have a number of new courses coming out as well. Every single year I tell myself, I'm going to slow down. I'm not going to work as hard this year as last year, but I can't. I can't because I thoroughly love it. I enjoy every second of this. Yeah. All right. So find something you love doing and you'll never have a job for the rest of your life, which Confucius said. And one of my students in my MBA program is related to Confucius. She's the head of the alumni committee. Her name is Christina Hong. She's great. She's amazing. She was born in Macau, but she and her wonderful husband, Christian, and their daughter, Isabella, live here in the Bay Area as well. They're great. All right, next up, Zishan wrote, have you read the little book that still beats the market? Take a look at that book. I've never heard of that, but thank you. Thank you. But I'm very, very long-term focused. And so earlier on, about 2 minutes ago, I showed you a template you can download. One of the many tools in my toolbox are arrows in your quiver in the MBA program. And I love to be very, very long-term focused because, as Warren Buffett said, when it comes to investing, the longer the view, the wiser the intention. Next up, Manas wrote, when is the real estate course coming out? Working on it. I'm working on it. What I want to do, though, is I want to fly up to Southern Ontario in Canada, where I bought a couple buildings. And I want to film why I bought those buildings, how I rent those buildings out, that sort of thing. So it's coming out soon, I promise you. Okay. And then you wrote, we're keenly waiting for that one. It's a market disruptor of 2022. No, thank you. It should be fun to make, yeah. And hats off to Matt Lacousse, my wonderful Chief Creative Officer. He's working on production for that right now and storyboarding. It's going to be a lot of fun. Next up, I've got Erkin John, who said, good morning, Chris. How are you? I'm always great, thanks. You wrote, a long time no see. I'm glad I can make it this time. Great to see you. Great to see you. And then you wrote here, let me ask you my first question. Otherwise, I might forget it. Sure. I forget things all the time. I have senior moments. The older I get, the better I was. The question is, I remember you had, or maybe still have, 3 cameras, and one of them was moving. What was that thing attached to the camera to move it? Yeah, sure. So I'm going to show you, and I have something handy here. Give me 1 second. All right. So what you can do is you can purchase this product here, okay? And this product here, I got a microphone in the shot here. That's okay. Dude, one of my biggest problems, I try to be a perfectionist, and it was Salvador Dali said, if you strive for perfection, you'll never reach it, you'll never attain it. So I'll put this up here. This is what was in the shot. I can talk about that if you want to as well. All right. So this here, this here is what's called a slider. Okay. And what you can do with it is it works with DSLR cameras as well as iPhones and mirrorless cameras too, right here. And it's about $100, and you put it on the side, and you have that as your second camera or your B camera. So this is my A camera, and I usually have a second camera over here, especially when I'm recording, so that when I make a mistake recording, which I do all the time, I can cut to the B camera instead of re-recording everything. But this is called Grip Gear Director Set, and it works with DSLR cameras too. I've used very heavy ones on this as well. It works quite well. There's of course more expensive sliders that you can get as well. I have a couple of them here, which we're going to be using for our interviews when we go down to Silicon Valley when it opens up, hopefully soon. Yeah. And we're actually working on doing a headquarter visit at Facebook, or Meta as they call it, in Foster City. And we're going to bring all our equipment, interview people there, etc. And I'll show you what it's like to work there. Yeah. It's kind of like Walt Disney World. Like, I don't know if you guys have gone to It's a Small World After All, which is kind of like a fabricated, I gotta be careful what I say, but they're not gonna give me the interview. It's like a fabricated universe. You get everything there. If you work at Facebook, you can go to go to the laundry store, which is on campus. You can go to many coffee shops, wonderful restaurants, and so much more. All right. Next question I've got here. Give me 1 second here. Okay. Next question is from Maximo. Good morning. Good to see you. Maximo wrote, how do we set up professional finance for young professionals fresh out of college? Can we model the same thing in your MBA course for personal finance? Yeah, everything I teach you is based on my professional experience. And so what I want to do is I want to take all the Wall Street secrets and bring it to all of you as well. Because I know in my heart my students can beat these top hedge fund managers and portfolio managers at mutual funds by applying what I teach. And I'll never tell you what stock to buy. Instead of giving you a fish, I'll teach you how to fish you can eat for a lifetime. Now, if you want to get a taste of it, actually, of what the MBA is all about, and I'll give away my one of my courses for free in a second as well. All right, so what you can do is you can go here, okay? And I'm going to give away my complete financial analyst course. I rarely do this, but I'm going to do it today. All right, so you go here to my website, which is harounventures.com. And what you can do is you can sign up. You'll see a pop-up box that comes up here. I don't see it right now because I'm not in incognito mode. It will probably work for you. Let me try it again. And when you see that pop-up, there's a 99-cent course that you can download. It's 6 hours. It won't show up. Oh, here it is here. Good. It's 6 hours long. and it's called, it's my new 6-hour Fundamentals of Entrepreneurship course. It's 99 cents. And this course is actually based on my book called 101 Crucial Lessons They Don't Teach You in Business School. And it was written up in Business Insider here. They wrote it's one of 6 books. Actually, no, they wrote here it's one of the most popular books of 2016 so far, according to Business Insider readers. And also, Forbes wrote the book up as well as saying it's one of 6 books that all entrepreneurs need to read right now, along with Peter Thiel's book, Simon Sinek, Eric Ries, etc. Yeah. So what you can do if you want is you can actually go here and download this for only 99 cents. It's a special I have on. Now, in terms of getting my complete financial analyst course for free, what you can do, and I just added this here, I just changed this whole website here myself. You go down the bottom, okay? And then you can click right here, and you can type in your name and your email, okay? And you can unsubscribe anytime you want to. And then the email, when you get it, it will show you a link to get my complete financial analyst course for free. You can check that out if you want to. Check out my MBA program as well if you want to as well. There's a 30-day 100% money back guarantee, as with all my courses. All right, give me one second. All right. Enough of the infomercial, Chris. Answer questions. Okay. All right, next up, Erkin Joyce, John said, how did you switch between cameras? I'm planning to do YouTube videos, so that is why I'm asking. Yeah, no, it's a great question. So in my MBA program, I teach you how to use many different software products for streaming live in optional lectures in the sales, marketing, communication section. And so I'm using what's called Wirecast, but I also teach you not just Wirecast, but I teach you how to use a product called OBS and Twitch as well. And so this is the product I use here. And so all you do is you put your different camera angles here, okay? And then what you can do is you can just jump to different camera angles if you want to, kind of like I'm doing right now. Okay. Next question I've got is from Manas, who wrote, the market is bringing in cryptocurrency ETFs. What are your thoughts on that one? I think it's awesome. I think it's great because I think most cryptocurrencies are a scam. There are now many more cryptocurrencies than there are real paper-based currencies. Disaster. So, and it's not regulated by governments. It's regulated by the laws of mathematics, or not regulated at all, these cryptos. And so when you invest in a stock, you can read the investment offering memorandum, or the S1. This is Facebook's from summer of 2012. But when you invest in cryptos, it's hard to do that. And so I think buying a diversified portfolio of cryptocurrencies really limits your risk, commensurate with buying a diversified portfolio of small tech, risky biotech companies. So I love it. But you got to make sure that you check out 2 things before you invest. A couple of things, actually. Number 1, what's in it? And number 2, what are the fees? And also, is it liquid enough? And so let me show you how to do that. And I'm going to take you in a second to my favorite ETF website. Everything I show you, there are always free references online. But first of all, let's go to Yahoo Finance, okay? finance.yahoo.com. And at Yahoo Finance, what you can do is you can type in any ETF. This is me buying time because the internet's slow today. Here we go. You can type in any ETF to find out what's in that ETF and what are the fees and is it liquid enough. And this is crucial because illiquid stocks own you in a down market instead of vice versa. So for example, if we typed in QQQ, right? The traders at Goldman when I used to work there call this the Qs. But you can invest in the tech stocks that are in the NASDAQ. Okay, NASDAQ has a lot of non-tech stocks too, by buying this. So the first thing we do is we look at the volume. And so the average volume is 60 million shares per day times $300. So that means we can get in and out really quickly if need be. Then what we do is we check out the fees. And I'll get to holdings in a second. So the fees here, it's not listed. I know it's well under 1%. Let me show you another example of one that actually shows fees. This is the SPDRs, or the SPY. This is the S&P 500. So yes, it's liquid enough, 87 million shares daily. In terms of the fees here, the fees are, here we go, very low, yeah, 0.09%. So that means if you put $100 into this ticker, this stock, this ETF, SPY, you put $100 in, every year you pay only 9 cents in fees. And these indexes, these ETFs, outperform mutual funds as well. Mutual funds are a scam. So let's go to holdings now to see what's in the SPDR, the ticker SPY ETF. Well, here you can see the breadth and depth of the U.S. economy because the SPY is basically the 500 stocks in the S&P 500, which represents the U.S. economy. And you can see here the biggest component of the 11 sector weightings is technology. And so it's no surprise that the biggest holdings here, the top 10 in this SPY, are Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Facebook, Google, etc. And so what I recommend doing also before doing any research or before buying any ETF is you want to go to ETF DB. Okay, Exchange Traded Fund DB. DB means database. And what you can do is you can screen them. Okay, you can screen by geography. There's thousands of ETFs you can look at here, etc. So if we look here at Brazil, for example, we see the EWZ right here. And if we open this up here, keep scrolling on me, we see what the holdings are. And the expense ratio here is 0.59%, meaning you'll pay 59 pennies every year for every $100 you have in this, which is a bit higher than normal, but it's still good enough because you get a diversified portfolio of these great Brazilian stocks, including Petrobras, Petroleum Brazil. All right. Give me 1 second. Here we go. All right. Next question is, one more thing, Manas. Make sure if you're going to invest in an ETF, a crypto ETF, make sure it's a reputable issuer of the ETF as well. You know, like Schwab or Vanguard or Fidelity or whatever it is. Just a reputable company. Yeah. Because I've seen too many of my students get scammed and lose thousands of dollars through cryptocurrency scammers. Yeah. And people even pretend to be me on the internet because I have a crypto course and they try to scam people, and I've dealt with them in the past. All right. Next up, Jagdish wrote, "Good evening. I'm from India. Which stock should I buy for the next 6 to 12 months?" Yeah. So I don't look at it that way. Some people do. I like to think longer term, because if I try to buy a stock and make money within 1 year, you know, let's say I have a target price 20% above where a stock is right now in a year. Well, the reason that stock might move up or down within a year is because of geopolitical events outside of my control. You know, for example, it might be saber rattling between the Ukraine and Moscow, or a trade war discussions between DC and Beijing. Or a stock might go up or down a lot because a company in that sector, not the one you invested in, might have beaten or missed earnings. It's too hard to make money when you're short-term focused. And so you got to be long-term focused. And I don't like investing in stocks where I see 15 or 20% upside because the margin of error is too high. I like investing in 5x5s. And what that means is 500% return within 5 years. I do a ton of research on stocks. I give you plenty of tools as well so that you can research stocks yourself in my MBA program. Yeah. All right. And I know a lot of people and this upsets people when I bring this up. And I say it because with love in my heart, because I deeply care about my students. Please don't quit your job to become a trader, anybody. Please don't do that. Because you'll be fooled by randomness, which is a great book by Nassim Taleb. Stocks go up or down in the near term for stuff outside of our control. In fact, every month only has 20 weekdays, which means 20 days the market's open. So it's impossible to make money every single month. And if it was so easy to be a trader, then we'd know of successful people's names who are traders. We don't. The longer the view, the wiser the intention. And again, I say it with love in my heart because I care. All right, Mim wrote, hey Chris, good morning. Good morning to you too. Hope you're doing well. All right, next up, Manas wrote, JP Morgan and Morgan Stanley are all investing in coins. You know that, but what are your thoughts on that? Yeah, I mean, it's a testament that, you know, the customers of JP Morgan and Morgan Stanley are very bullish on cryptocurrencies longer term. And it's interesting because Jimmy Dimon, who's the head of JP Morgan, he said that cryptos were a scam for many years. And now he's actually adopted it, and they're doing a lot of business with cryptos. You can't ignore it because of blockchain, et cetera. It's going to touch all aspects of finance. Yeah. Okay. Next up, Dujaglia. If I mispronounce anyone's name, I'm so sorry, and please correct me. Thank you. Dear Chris, I have a TAM question, and TAM stands for Total Addressable Market. You never want to invest in a company that has a very tiny market. Otherwise, in the unlikely event that that company gets a large percent share of that market, it's not going to move the needle. You want to invest in companies with a massive TAM. And when I used to work in venture capital, I remember I partnered with Kleiner Perkins on a couple of deals. And I went over to Kleiner's headquarters. I met with Paul Yeh, Y-E-H. I don't think he's at Kleiner anymore. He left to start his own company. But he told me that at Kleiner Perkins, which is the company that invests in Google, Amazon, etc., at Kleiner Perkins, they don't invest in any company that doesn't have a TAM or total addressable market of at least $20 billion. And the reason is because in the unlikely event that that company that they invested in gets 5% share of a $20 billion market, then that's $1 billion in revenue, and that's definitely a unicorn. Yeah. So always invest in companies with a massive TAM. And so your question is this. I have a TAM question. If I produce tables for luxury hotels, is my market luxury hotel market or all makers of tables market? And then you wrote, thank you, and thank you for the fantastic Udemy course. My pleasure, and thank you for taking the course as well. Yeah. So I would look at just tables that you're selling to that market it's in, like, for example, hotels. Just hotel tables in that market. If you're doing it online and you're shipping online as well, then your total addressable market is massive if you ship overseas as well. But you, generally speaking, want to just focus on the market you're serving, which people call the SAM, in addition to the TAM. Okay, next up we got Zishan, who wrote, hey Chris, how do you understand economics without enrolling in any kinds of academic degree? Yeah, so I would say that most of economics is not used in the business world. I've never seen anybody use a supply and demand graph, which is why I don't teach it in my MBA program. The only reason you might use that is if you're an economist or you want to be, I don't know, head of the Treasury or the Federal Reserve, etc. And so I think the best way to learn economics is, and in my MBA program, one of the 5 pillars is economics management and strategy. You can take my program. I teach you a lot about that. I also have an economics course, a masterclass, if you go to learn.harounventures.com. But the best way I think to learn economics is to go to the FT. And so the FT it's kind of like the Wall Street Journal, but for Europe and the world. It's more global in nature, kind of like the BBC is for news. And I love getting my American politics news from the BBC because it's not as biased as CNN and Fox, which are at different ends of the political spectrum. And so what you can do is you can go here to ft.com. I'm going to show you how to read this for free. Okay. So ft.com. Okay. So right here, whenever you see an article that interests you about economics, click on it just to understand business. Don't ever take anybody's advice for what stocks to buy, but the FT is great for this, especially their column called the Lex column, which is like the Wall Street Journal's Heard It on the Street column. Okay, it's a great editorial actually. So if I were to click here, I'd have to pay. Okay, and I don't want you to pay. So what I recommend doing is you copy this, okay, then you paste it, and then what you can do is you can click right here, and now you can read it for free. And the reason that works with the FT, it doesn't work with all news websites. The reason it works is because the Financial Times, they know if they don't allow that to work, then all of their articles and titles would not be indexed by the search engine optimization tools like by Google, etc. So check it out if you get a chance. All right. Next question is from Manas, who wrote, Turkey is facing 80% inflation right now. What are your thoughts, and how is this reflective of the world economy now? Yeah. So that's an extreme case of monetary policy that's too loose. And so what's happened is the Turkish government has increased the supply of money materially by through bonds, issuing bonds, etc., to try to fix the economy, but they've certainly overdone it. So it's what's happening in the U.S. but to a much less extreme nature. So in the United States, inflation is now 7% because there's too much money out there. In fact, the number of dollar bills, U.S. dollar bills out there is up between 30 and 40% over the past couple of years. It doesn't seem fair because, in America, people work hard, and all over the world they work hard, but you get paid in dollars, and the government is diluting your net worth. So they say cash is trash, and that's why we invest. And that's why I teach finance and how to invest in general. And so Turkey is going to have to raise interest rates materially. Otherwise, they won't, unfortunately, have an economy. Yeah. And it's interesting because since the beginning of time, governments repeat mistakes, but since the beginning of time, governments have been toppled or countries have gone belly up or been taken over because of fiscal mismanagement. And so, for example, the Roman Empire, one of the reasons the Roman Empire failed was because they printed too much coin. And that's why if you want to buy coins online with Caesar on one side of the coin, they're pretty cheap because there's tons of them out there. And so when I went to Israel with my family in the summer of 2017, which was a wonderful trip, we went to Jerusalem. And I bought a coin from the year 30 AD with Pontius Pilate on one side of it. And you might think, oh my God, Chris, that must have cost you a fortune. It didn't. It didn't, because they're uncovering in Israel when they do excavations, they're uncovering more currency every single day. And so the bottom line is, if governments print too much money, then inflation spikes and they don't have an economy, which is why the U.S. government is going to be raising rates this year, the Federal Reserve. Okay. Pearl, how are you? Pearl's in my MBA program. Great to see you. Thanks for that emoji. It's adorable. Moving on to Mim, and it's the first time I've seen you here. You wrote, my first time here. I'm starting a company based on a couple of interesting IoT projects and ideas. IoT stands for Internet of Things, meaning connected devices. Like my ring here. This is an IoT device. It's an Oura ring where I monitor my sleep pattern, etc. Then you wrote here, I'm an experienced professional myself, meaning you wrote here a solutions architect, and I can do a lot of the work, at least for a POC. POC stands for proof of concept. It's basically like an alpha or a beta of a product you bring to show investors you can raise money. And then you wrote, but I have a full-time job as well. I wonder if there is a way I can get a private investor without too much hassle to be able to work on the company full-time. What do you suggest? Yeah. So you're going down the right path. I'd like to hear this because a lot of people, when they start companies, they think I want to get a loan. And you never get a loan to start a company because banks are chicken. And if you don't pay back that loan on time, they can take everything. Make sure you register your company with a legal service in your country so that they can't take your house, et cetera. I've seen it happen before. So what I recommend doing is networking aggressively to meet high net worth investors. I've humbly raised and managed over $1 billion in my career. And all my secrets or whatever from the many mistakes I've made, I share with you for free right here. So go to my website, HarounEducation.com, and download this book. It's a couple hundred pages on how to network, to meet investors, get a job, customers, etc. And there's also a couple hours of YouTube videos you can link from within this book. And in my MBA program, I have what's called the Venture Capital Bootcamp in the third semester, where I teach you how to start a company from scratch, how to write a thorough business plan, how to raise money, etc. You can start today if you go to my website, HarounVentures.com, scroll down, and you can click on that MBA logo there. All right. Next up, Manas wrote, you need to trim down your hair a little as it's changed your face a lot. You look like a Hollywood guy. You know that. Yeah. Dude, no, I think my hair is getting ridiculous. I look like that guy from The Sopranos. You know what I'm talking about. That guy with the crazy hair, yeah. And I canceled my hair appointment tomorrow just because I've got too much stuff to do. Maybe I'll uncancel it. Yeah. I like it, though. It's different. All right. Next question is, Dear Chris, I have another total addressable market question. If my table is $1,000, and these are tables you're selling to hotels in India, if my table is $1,000, then my TAM would be the number of hotels times the number of rooms. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, so let's say that I make this up. There's 100 hotels in India that you're going to be servicing, right? Let's just say that you're focusing only on the West Coast, like Mumbai, for example. If there's 100 hotels and the average hotel has 100 rooms, then 100 times 100 is 10,000. So your total addressable market would be 10,000 tables times $1,000 per table if that's what they cost. Yeah. And then you wrote here, is there a way to guess how much of the TAM you will capture? It's tough. it's tough. You'll never capture 100% of the market. And I would say an amazing goal would be to get 5% share. Yeah. At least in the first couple of years. And a great sanity check whenever we're creating financial models on our business plans is if we model revenue into the future and we're really bullish, meaning really optimistic, and we look and we see 10 years from now, our revenue is bigger than the entire TAM, the entire market, then of course we're a little bit too optimistic with our forecasts, which I teach in my MBA program. Okay, next up, Manas wrote, if Russia declared a war on the Ukraine, and God willing, I hope that doesn't happen. Yeah, there's 100,000 troops at the border. If they were to invade, this would be the biggest invasion in terms of number of troops since World War II. The United States has sent over 8,000 troops. The United States is not going to get involved, meaning they're not going to put troops directly into the Ukraine, but they have troops in the surrounding areas as well. And NATO is helping out as well. And Boris Johnson from the United Kingdom has certainly been saber rattling a lot with Putin lately. And God bless him. I like Boris. Yeah, he's going through a lot now with the COVID party he had at Christmas, but I'm a fan. Yeah. So you wrote, if Russia declared war on the Ukraine, what do you think can happen in the United States and Asia? Do you think a 1930s depression will be back if that happens? God forbid. Yeah. Yeah. Well, the harsh reality is everybody cares from a human rights perspective, of course. But from a business perspective, people care as well because the bulk of natural gas in Eastern Europe is actually from Russia. Right? So, for example, Germany is really dependent on Russian natural gas, Gazprom and Lukoil as well. So there are big economic repercussions, kind of like why there's always been a lot of foreign intervention in the Middle East. One of the reasons is because of oil. It's unfortunate. And what's disgusting to me is that the whole world watched what happened in Rwanda with the ethnic genocide back in the 90s, and they didn't do a damn thing because there weren't natural resources that would help global economies, etc. Yeah. God willing, a war doesn't happen. If it does happen, what's going to happen is the United States has already signaled and basically told Putin and Russia that we're going to shut down all SWIFT-based money transfers for Russia. And SWIFT is basically the international standard you use to transfer money. And if Russia can't use that, then it's going to hurt them a hell of a lot. Yeah. I pray a lot that nothing happens there. Yeah. All right. And then next up, Manas wrote, thanks everything, my mentor, my pleasure. I like my hair. It's always an honor to be part of the Haroun Education Ventures webcast. I'll do it for the next 10,000 episodes. Thank you. And then you wrote, thank you and God bless you and your entire family forever. Let's push the goalpost. Oot. Dude, I'm so happy that you're saying oot correctly. Like a lot of Americans, they say out. It's oot. That's how we say it in Canada. And in Canada, we invented English, right? And so oot is the right way to say thank you for saying it the right way. Yeah. Okay. Next up, thank you for those emojis too, Manas. I appreciate it. Lots of love, lots of prayers to you, brother. Yeah. Okay, give me a second here. Okay. Next up, FR Cake Synergy Group wrote, hi from Mumbai, regards. Great to see you. Thank you very much. And I actually taught in Mumbai in 2016. During the evenings when I worked in VC, I taught at one of the universities I taught at was called the Halt International School of Business. And they sent me to India to teach in Mumbai and Delhi as well. And it was a wonderful trip. And the best food I've ever had in my life was in India. And you're going to laugh when I tell you this. But at the Mumbai airport and Delhi airport, I went to Punjabi Grill, which I know is fast food, and I ordered the dosa. And for anybody out there that has never heard of dosa or tried dosa, please, the only thing important to learn from this webcast today, humbly, is when you go to an Indian restaurant, if you don't see dosa on the menu, ask for it because it's the best food you'll ever eat in your life. Kind of like the first time I ate a Krispy Kreme donut in New York City back in the 90s, fresh out of the oven. But dosa is way better. All right. Next up, I think Javier wrote, good morning, Chris, and our gold and platinum MBA family. Great to see you. Yeah. And then next up, you wrote, I'm enjoying your MBA course. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. And that's from FR Cake Synergy Group. Thank you. And then you wrote, God bless you. You're indeed a boon to mankind progress. Thank you. Thank you. I do what I love doing. And I always want to inspire my students to do exactly what they're meant to do on this earth as well. And so I see myself, speaking of Indian food, I'm getting hungry now for dosa. But I proposed to my wife in Paris because I didn't want her to say no. She said yes. But we went to this restaurant called Maxime's. And the reason I bring this up, because I love using props when I teach, is I see myself as your humble waiter. When you go to a restaurant, you can order anything you want on the menu, but you look at everything. You don't order everything. You look at everything. And so my goal is to expose my students, whether you pay or not, I don't care, on this weekly webcast too, I want to help. I expose everyone to different types of jobs and different careers so that you can pick a career or a job you're most passionate about. All right. All right, next up, Ensley wrote, Ensley here from South Africa, 6:15 p.m. this side. Great to see you. And I have a bunch of students that graduated 2 years ago. Mapudi graduated from my Platinum program, my MBA program last year. We had a husband and wife team named Kim and Andrew Cooper from South Africa. They graduated as well. They now live on the West Coast in Canada. They're wonderful. They're family to me. So you wrote, it's 6:15 p.m. now in South Africa. Please assist. How can I scale up a project which is widely not recognized as viable on a commercial scale? Yeah. So I would first of all analyze why people are saying it's not viable. And the best way to do that is to write a thorough business plan. And in my MBA program in the third semester, and you can go to harounventures.com and sign up today. In the third semester, I have a venture capital boot camp based on my many years of experience working in venture capital. I help you start your company. I help you crystallize your thought process and architect your business model from scratch. And the measure of a good business plan is if you finish the business plan. Because my business plans I have you write are at least 100 pages. And while you're writing your business plan, if you realize after a couple hours of working on it, and you're on page 3 of 100 or so, whatever it is, if you realize it's not a good business plan, you stop, you move on to another one. And I'm a very optimistic person, as you know, and I believe that anybody can start a company and put their dent in the universe. However, if I stop somebody from wasting money on an idea that's not going to work because you write my business plan, then I've done my job as well. I want you all to be entrepreneurs and all to be successful and live your life in your own terms. But I want you to be happy. And that's why I have all these templates or arrows in my quiver in my MBA program, for example, including the business plan in the Venture Capital Bootcamp. I have that to help you save yourself from making a mistake and starting a company that's not going to make you money. Or you can make your business model better by writing the business plan with me in my MBA program. All right, next up, Javier, who's in my Platinum program, wrote, Chris, I'm falling behind on the course, but I finished EMS class 1 last night. That's Economics Management and Strategy. Awesome. And there's 5 different parts of my MBA program as follows. There's Economics Management and Strategy, Finance and Accounting, Sales, Marketing and Communication, Entrepreneurship, and Personal Growth. 5 of them. So you're asking about EMS, Economics Management and Strategy. You wrote, in this class, it teaches us the supply and demand. If the United States is buying or pumping $120 billion of money per month in February. So if they're putting a lot of money, if the United States is buying bonds back from people per your question, then that would mean that I'm the U.S. government, you're a citizen. Basically, I buy back from you, okay, a bond. Okay, so I give you money, you give me the bond. And that's the opposite of what's happening now. Because if I do that, if I give you money and I buy back your bond, then there's more money out there. And if there's more money out there, the price of money goes down, which means that interest rates go down. And if you go to treasury.gov, you can see the 2-year treasury yield right now is the highest it's been in a long, long time. Yeah. All right. And the market's pulling back, we all know, because of concerns about inflation and government raising money. Yeah. All right. Next up, Zishan wrote, hey, Chris, I believe in your view that online teaching is the future. But unlike here in India, people still prefer face-to-face coaching and are skeptical about online. How do I convince them? Yeah. Well, the best example is COVID. You know, we've all learned, it's been hard to do more with less by using online. So I think the whole model and my vision of the world has been pulled forward about 20 years because of COVID. What you can do is go to my YouTube channel and you can watch my TEDx talk on the future of the world with education. And everything I talked about then, humbly, is coming true faster than I thought. And I think that in my lifetime, only 50 universities are going to be alive or out there still. So in India, you'll have the 5 IITs and great schools. In America, like Harvard, Yale, whatever. In England, you'll have Oxford, Cambridge. But I think a lot of people are going to say to themselves, if I don't get into those types of schools, I don't know if it's worth the money. And so because of the cost, it's ridiculously expensive, $100,000 for a 4-year education in America, for example. And so I think what's going to happen is 4-year undergraduate degrees are going to be cut in half, and you'll still do 4 years all in, but you'll do a lot of it online. Like after you finish the in-person classes, you'll do more courses online, kind of like the University of Waterloo does in Canada. Yeah. When it comes to internships and co-op. Yeah. All right. Next up, Erkin John wrote, Chris, I have an S-Corp in California. And so do I. Thank you. Yeah. So there's different types of business structures. There's an LLC, which is limited liability corporation. Then there's an S-Corp and there's a C-Corp. Most companies, when they start their own firm, when somebody starts their own firm, they do it as an LLC. It's pretty cheap. And then what happens is when the LLC, the company grows and you want to get more investors, you're not allowed to have more than a certain number of investors in the LLC. So that's why a lot of late-stage private companies switch from an LLC to a C-Corp before they go public, because almost all publicly traded companies are C-Corps. An S-Corp is a little bit different. You do it if you want to stay private forever, which is what I want to do. And you do it so you can pass through expenses. And you do it if you don't have employees. And technically, I don't have any employees as well. Yeah. So you wrote, I have an S-Corp in California, and I moved to Texas. I don't blame you, man. With taxes, I get it. Elon Musk has done that with Tesla, and so has Larry Ellison with Oracle. A lot of people are voting with their feet. Then you wrote, if I want to do the same business here, should I register an S-Corp here in Texas as well? As a branch of that business is not needed. It's confusing. Yeah. So the best answer I have for you and for everybody globally as well is to go to a website called LegalZoom. And I don't have any sponsors. The growth of my company, my YouTube channel is not massive. I want manageable growth. I don't want any sponsorships ever. I always put my students first. So I'm not sponsored by this company I'm going to show you. It's called LegalZoom. And if you're overseas, what you can do is you can type in what is the equivalent of LegalZoom in whatever your country's name is. Do a search on Google or Bing if you work at Microsoft. So what you can do is when you come here to LegalZoom, you can do calls. They're about $30 for a half-hour call with a lawyer. It's a great deal. The lawyer speaks really slowly. I'm just kidding. Awful. But you can go here and you can actually start a company or register it here. And they'll know better than I do. I'm not a lawyer. So they'll be able to give you better advice. Yeah. My gut is they're going to tell you to either register in Delaware or in Texas. Yeah. In California, it's too expensive on an annual basis as well. It's ridiculous. Like an LLC in California, I think it's over $800 a year. Yeah. All right. Next up, Solomon wrote, hey, Chris, how many hours a day should I study every day if I had many courses to finish together, such as accounting and an MBA? Yeah. It's not the number of hours. It's the cerebral intensity of the hours. And what that means is this. So when I was younger and I used to study, I would get up early to study because I know that 1 hour of study in the morning is the equivalent of 7 or 8 hours at night. That's just the way it works. Your brain is fresh. Now, a way to hack that, a biohack for that, and to trick your brain into thinking you just woke up, meaning you're fresh all day long. A way to do that is you exercise. This is going to be out there, but look who you're talking to. You exercise, okay? You exercise while you're working. And so what I do in this office is I get 20,000 steps every day. And I also go to my gym as well. I'm getting out of the house. Sorry for that. I got to put some WD-40 on it here. But I'm going to wing this. I got to put this on it. Yeah. So I work all day long with this, not my suit. I wear a t-shirt and stuff. And then what I do is I have this desk that moves here. It moves up. And I try to make sure that, you know, my posture is correct. I don't have a chair in here because a year ago, and I'm going to turn off this treadmill now. This desk is 8 feet wide, by the way. It's huge. I don't have a desk here because I think it was in January or February 2021. I had people complain on my webcast. They said, Chris, you sound tired. And it was getting stale. And so in an effort to push the goalpost out, I got rid of the chair in my office. Yeah. So I don't sit all day at all, except on my couch at night when I'm watching TV before I put Dylan to bed. I play on my, I'm a nerd here. Here we go. I disclose everything. On my Alienware Area 51 laptop, I play Age of Empires 4. Yeah, that's when I sit. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Next up, Javier wrote here, Chris, 60 billion for March, and I will phase out around April, and it will phase out, okay, around April or May. This means the Fed is printing every month. Yeah. So if the Fed is printing more money, it means what's going to happen is rates will go down. But they're, as you mentioned, they're phasing that out to the extent that they're not going to be printing more money. They'll be doing the opposite. And when they do the opposite, then what happens is the price of money goes up. They're not going to do it drastically. Like if governments raise interest rates too fast, it spooks the market. Like President Trump, what he did back in, I think it was March of 2020, when COVID was becoming a material issue for the first time. What he did was on a Sunday, his administration raised interest rates 1%. That's 100 basis points on a Sunday. And you would think that on Monday the stock market would rally. It crashed. Because people were like, oh my God, number one, the government never raises interest rates on a Sunday. Number two, they never cut interest rates on a Sunday. And number two, doing it by 1%, that's a massive amount. Usually they do 25 basis points, meaning 0.25%. And so that Monday morning in 2020, when rates were cut a full percent on a Sunday, that Monday morning, the market went down a lot because people were freaking out. They're like, what does the government know? What data do they see that we don't see? And so I think the government is going to raise rates very slowly, right? And the reason that the market is expecting rates to increase, it's not just the fact the government is flat out saying they're going to raise rates soon, but they change the language as well. And so they have these meetings called an FOMC meeting, or a Federal Open Market Committee meeting. And what they do, the heads of the Federal Reserve all over the country, what they do is they talk about the economy. And there's somebody taking notes. And that person taking notes, those notes are called the minutes. And that's issued as a press release as well. And if you notice that the language changes a little bit from one meeting to the next, that's the government trying to assuage or calm investor fears by saying, we are going to raise rates, but, just a little bit at first, that sort of thing. And so if the language changes from, we are somewhat concerned about inflation, to, we are concerned about inflation, right? So somewhat is left out in the new press release, for example. Then the market interprets that as a rate of change, like the derivative in calculus at delta. The market interprets the fact that the government is going to raise rates. And so I think they'll do it very slowly. They'll do it by 0.25% or 0.5% if need be, at least 3 or 4 times later this year. Okay, and give me 1 second here. I just want to do a check here on quality of the webcast. We're good to go. Okay, great. And if you guys are getting value out of this call, please like and subscribe, and thank you. You can't dislike. No one's going to see it anyway anymore. YouTube got, I'm just joking. Dislike it if you want to. But YouTube got rid of dislikes. And at first I was like, that's kind of ridiculous. Like, why would they get rid of the thumbs down button? And I thought to myself, well, if Facebook launched in 2003 and they launched and eventually had the up and down button, Facebook might not have grown as much. I know it sounds weird to say. It sounds weird to say because if you can have a lot of dislikes, if you can do that in Facebook, then people will be a little bit more insecure or less willing to share stuff. It's weird, I know. But for me, for example, even subconsciously, I've taken some more risks on my YouTube channel, partially because of that. And so if there's no dislikes, basically you can kind of not care what people think. Yeah. But I wish they brought it back, though. Yeah. Okay. All right. Next up, Illume wrote, hey, Chris, please, how can we start a business with no money? Yeah. Yeah. So in my MBA program, I teach you how to start a company with no money. I also teach you how to raise money by networking a lot. And if you don't take my MBA program, what you can do is you can get a much abbreviated version of how to network and raise money by going to my website, harounventures.com, and then just download this book here. Okay, and this is how you raise money. This book will tell you all the secrets as well. I've humbly raised and managed over $1 billion in my career. I teach you how to do it, how to network on steroids as well, because relationships are more important than product knowledge, and your network is your net worth. And don't get a loan from a bank, because they're chicken, as I mentioned before. Just high net worth investors. And the sales cycle with high net worth investors is quite short as well, right? So I remember when I was raising money for my hedge fund years ago, I didn't know what the hell I was doing. And so I made a lot of mistakes, and I teach based on my mistakes too. Now, I raised a lot of money, but I got way too many meetings with big firms that would never invest right away. And so what I did actually when I was raising money for my hedge fund was I went all over the world, and I leveraged my network, and I met with big institutions. And I remember I was in Montreal meeting with Caisse Dépôt, which is the biggest pension fund in Quebec. And it was supposed to be a half-hour meeting, one snowy morning in January 2008. And that meeting lasted 3 hours. And I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. I can't believe that we're still talking. This is great. And so, of course, I asked for the sale. You have to, at the end. And the person that met with me said, Chris, I'm very interested in investing. Thank you so much for your time. What we'll do is we're going to monitor your fund for 5 years, and then we'll consider investing. And I learned the hard way that if you meet with wealthy people instead of big institutions, the sales cycle is much shorter. It might be just a couple of meetings, for example. And the problem is with meeting with large firms, if you're trying to raise money when it's too early, you have a lot of people that work at these large firms like analysts, and their job is to meet with startups. And so they usually have to have, 600 or 700 meetings per year. That's about 2 per day, roughly. And so you become a check mark. Did I do my meetings today? And so I think going after high net worth investors makes more sense. The sales cycle is shorter. Go to my website, check out my networking book for more details. Thanks. Okay. Next up, Javier wrote here, who's in my MBA program. The real question, for example, is the money they are printing the avocados, and they stop by bond and treasuries. This means no more avocados. Demand goes up, which is equally the interest rate. Yeah. So just think about it in terms of, so if I'm a store manager and I can't sell as many avocados because there's a drought, and the avocados I have to sell, they cost me more money to get because there's less supply out there. So I have to sell it for more. So that's basically the way it works with money as well. If there's less money out there, the cost of money goes up, meaning interest rates. And the store manager for avocados is commensurate or similar to the Federal Reserve chairperson in the United States, or the Bank of England, or the Bank of Canada, or the European Central Bank, ECB, or the Minister of Finance in Japan, for example. Yeah. All right. Next up, I've got Pre-M Power. First time I've seen you here. Welcome. Welcome. So Pre-M Power wrote, hi, Chris. It's midnight here in Jakarta. Excellent. It's great to see you. I actually have one of my favorite new MBA students in my program. His name is David. I love them all equally. All my students are the same. Like I love my kids all the same as well. Yeah. But my mom and dad love me a little bit more than Jamie, Katie, and Elizabeth, my brothers and sisters. It's true. You can ask them. One of my favorite students named David is from Jakarta as well. He inspires me. He's really active on LinkedIn. And so Priyam wrote here, hope you're doing well. Likewise, thank you. I came here from your crypto course. Thank you. Does investing in cryptos, is it the same thing as gambling? Because my friends had this opinion. Thanks. Yeah, it is if you don't do your research. Just like investing in the stock market without doing your research is like gambling. You know, it's deadly. And the worst thing that can happen if you invest in cryptos or the stock market, the worst thing that can happen is you make a fortune right away on 1 or 2 trades. And you think this is repeatable. It's like going to a casino and winning in the slot machine the first time. You think it's repeatable. It's not. It's not. You get fooled by randomness. This is a prop from one of my options lectures in my MBA program. We talk about Monte Carlo simulation. So I would say that if you don't do due diligence and deep research on cryptos or companies, then it's the same thing as going to a casino. And that's why in that course and in my curriculum as well, my MBA program, I have an updated version of it. What I do is, and I updated that course on Udemy recently as well, the crypto one. What I teach you is I teach you how to create an investment offering memorandum, okay, or an S1 document. So in the United States, if you want to go public, by law, you have to, the investment bankers, and lawyers create this thing with all the risks in it. And so I teach you how to do that in that course and in my MBA program as well. Do the research. Don't rely on me ever to tell you what stocks to buy or cryptos to buy or anybody for that matter. Don't ever watch TV and watch some smart portfolio manager that speaks gooder than all of us and use their opinion. They're salespeople. That's how they got there. Always do your own research. And I teach you that in my MBA program and in that course as well. And I also teach you portfolio management, diversification as well, risk management in my MBA program. I take you to the next level in terms of investing in stocks, bonds, commodities, real estate, REITs, etc. Yeah. Okay. Next up, Arturo wrote, I'm getting my Texas real estate license. Is it better to be an employee or independent contractor working for a broker? Yeah. I would start off working for a brokerage firm like Century 21, whatever. The reason I say that is because it'll give you credibility, and you'll learn from them. It's like you're being paid to learn. And then once you have that credibility after a couple of years, you can start your own firm. And on your resume or LinkedIn profile, when people check you out, it'll show, you'll see that you worked at a big real estate firm for a couple of years. It'll help a lot. Yeah. Don't mess with Texas. And I have a lot of my students are from Texas. George is one of my favorite students. He's from Texas. George, if you're on the call, I love you. Good to see you. And it's good to see you in person at our graduation last year as well, brother. Don't mess with Texas. And I've looked into buying property in Texas and what you can do. And I love investing in land. And my grandfather, God bless him, I miss you, buddy. He used to say, Chrissy, buy land. They're not making it anymore. And so I've been looking into buying land in Texas and farmland as well, because in the future, fewer people are going to be going into offices in cities. And when I'm looking into buying land in Texas, there's a way to buy land where you give up the mineral rights. So if I buy that land, which is cheap because it's in the middle of nowhere, if I buy that land, if oil is ever discovered on that land, I don't get that, but I get to keep the land. Yeah. And you probably know more about that than I do. Next question, Arturo, who's working in real estate in Texas, wrote, should I ask for a base salary or split commission? Also, do the sales strategies you taught us apply? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So the way to sell anything, that definitely applies. Yeah. So whenever I teach you how to sell my MBA program, it doesn't matter if you're selling a product or a service. It's all the same thing. A lot of it comes down to bonding with people as well. Also, stop selling once you feel that they're interested, which is called selling past the close. Otherwise, you'll lose the sale. And many more tips. Yeah. Now, in terms of compensation, so this is a tough one because, and I'll answer this more generically with respect to getting stock options. So let's say you work for a tech company and they give you a job offer and they tell you, we can either give you this much base salary and this much stock options, or we can give you more or less. Always go for the higher base. Okay. And the reason I say that is because in the unlikely event that tech company does well in the long run, they're going to give you more options anyway. It costs them nothing. Literally costs them nothing to create more options for you. And so what I would do is I'd always err on the side of getting a slightly higher base salary, especially if you're new to an industry. Yeah. That's what I recommend. But you don't want to tell them that you don't want any shares or any equity in the company or any performance-based bonus. Otherwise, it will signal to them that you're just not long-term focused on the company or you don't believe in the business model. Okay. Next up, Javier wrote, so interest rates is the same thing as demand and supply. Sorry if my question is confusing. No, it's a great question. Yeah. So from a supply-demand perspective, yeah. So if there's more supply of something out there, then the price goes down. If there's less of supply of something out there, the price goes up. So for example, and I'm looking into metaverse stuff with my MBA program now, and I'm just kind of beta testing a couple of products, but this is my kids. Yeah. But with the Nintendo Switch, when it first came out, which you put in here, right? But the Nintendo Switch, when it first came out a couple of years ago, you couldn't find it anywhere. It was a hot commodity, kind of like the PS5 was last year. And so as a result, if you wanted to buy a Switch years ago or a PS5 last year, because there's limited supply, you had to pay more for it. That's exactly how it works with currencies. Hey, Fred, how are you? Fred Mendoza, graduated from my MBA program last year. Great to see you, Fred. Fred is from Maryland. He works in the healthcare sector. He understands land development as well. He has a bunch of companies. He's brilliant. He helped me out materially with my options course, which I also taught statistics in as well. Fred, great to see you again, and thank you so much for your help last year. You inspire me, brother. Yeah. All right. So Fred, good morning to you as well, buddy. Okay, next up I got Illum who wrote here, hi, Chris. Please, how can you start a company and make it successful? Yeah, it's all about planning. And failing to plan is planning to fail. So always write a thorough business plan, which I do in my MBA program, which you can sign up for today and start today and finish within a couple months. Just go to harounventures.com. But in my MBA program, the on-demand version, in the third of 4 semesters, I teach you in the Venture Capital Bootcamp how to start a company from scratch. Yeah. And I'm getting hungry now. Give me 1 second. I make my 7 shakes on Sunday. This is one of them. With every antioxidant on the planet. I started putting pomegranate juice in it as well. It's good. All right, next up I have got here. Zishan wrote, Chris, are the gold and platinum classes different from the one in silver? Are they taught live? Yeah, it's the same content, but I do a lot of Q&A that's live like this. So the best way for me to explain the differences between the programs quickly is I'll go here to my website. All right, so if I go here to, let's see here, pricing FAQs at harounventures.com. Here we go here, yeah. All right, so here's how it works. You can start the silver MBA program today. And it's more than 300 hours of lessons online. It's like Netflix. And you own it forever. And I put tons of new content every year, which you'll get for free forever. It's a one-time payment. Last year, for example, I added more than 30 hours of new stuff. This year, I'm going to add even more than that. You get it forever. And so you watch it online, okay, at your own pace. You can use an iPhone, Android handset, television, any device you want, computer, of course. And then there are 100 classes. Now, after each class, there's a very short and easy quiz. And in order to get the degree, all you have to do is take at least 50 quizzes with a mark of 50% or higher. Yeah. So it's over 300 hours of lessons. There's a 30-day, 100% money-back guarantee. Okay. And there's a payment plan as well. And if you want to do the gold or platinum versions, silver you can start anytime. You start today. But for gold and platinum, it starts every January. So this year we're sold out. We started on January 10th. We have 200 people. It's our largest class ever. And the way it works is in gold, you get everything you get in silver, plus you get more than 200 hours of live Q&A. So I'll play a video, meaning one of the lectures, and then I'll take live Q&A here as well. Yeah. Now, the platinum version is just like gold, except you get 3 hours of one-on-one coaching from me using Zoom, all confidential, spread out in 20 minutes throughout the year at times that work for you. And I do these one-on-ones on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays. 30-day, 100% money back guarantee, all this stuff, of course. The next program here will start for gold and platinum, January 2023. That will be our 4th year of doing it. And if you do silver, you get priority access, meaning you're guaranteed a spot if you want to do gold or platinum in the future, and you get a discount as well. Yeah. And also with gold and platinum, I have annual alumni events, that sort of thing. Yeah. But there's a 30-day, 100% money back guarantee. You got nothing to lose and everything to gain. And so you click here on, and I'll go into, I'll go into incognito so I can show you here. Hold on a second. So you go to learn.harounventures.com. And when you're here at learn.harounventures.com, which is powered by Teachables, you click right here, and you can sign up if you want to. Yeah. And I've got a coupon for you as well. So if you go to my website and you see a pop-up and it asks you to pay 99 cents for a 6-hour course, buy that, and before you hit checkout with your credit card, you'll see a coupon there for the MBA course that's 25% off. Yeah. But you can learn more about this program here. Just scroll down. There's 5 major components, which I've mentioned before. And you can see a video on each component. You can take this on a desktop, laptop, etc. So in the finance and accounting portion, I teach you how to make a diversified portfolio. It looks like that. Pillar 2 is the venture capital bootcamp, which I talked about today. Pillar 3 is sales, marketing, and communications. Pillar 4 is economics, management, and strategy. And then Pillar 5 is personal growth, where I teach you how to accomplish much more every single day. For all the FAQs, you can see here as well, and the entire curriculum and a bunch of testimonials from my wonderful students. The curriculum here as well. There's a lot to it. Yeah, it's fun. And if you have any additional questions, please let me know. Or what you can do, and this is a new feature I just added. I'm happy to talk about the technology side of how I did this if you want. But you'll see down here this little box. You can ask questions as well. Yeah. That's also on my website. You'll see that green box as well. And it comes to me directly. It's fun. I get a little alert here. All right. Okay. All right. Now, Christina, how are you? Christina is the head of the Haroun Education Ventures Alumni Association. Great to see you, Christina. Christina graduated last year, and her husband, Christian, who works at Sony PlayStation, great guy, he graduated as well. And I met them both in person here at our graduation on December 18th of last year. Great to see you. Christina, I got to send you the login for the alumni account as well. I will get to that email-wise. I promise you. Thank you. So Christina wrote, "Good morning, Chris, and our amazing global MBA and weekly webcast family. Hope you're all having an outstanding week so far." I am, thank you. I hope you are. Cheers, Chris. I'm at 9 a.m. water and 400 steps. How about you? Yeah, and we compete, Christina and I. So I'm way behind you. I'm only at 8 a.m. This gives you more energy. In terms of my steps, which is always not good on the morning during this event, 250 steps, but I'll get all 20,000 steps in today. And I wear my Apple Watch in my pocket because when I type, it doesn't count steps. Yeah. And thank you, Christina, for everything you do. Okay. Next up, I've got here. Hold on a second. Okay. And Solomon said, yes, the week was good so far. Great to hear. Great to hear. Okay. And then Fred wrote here, be careful buying stocks right now. Yeah. A lot of people are expecting the Fed to raise rates. If government raises interest rates, it hurts the stock market big time, partially because it signals the market's going to slow, and also because a lot of people, they borrow money to invest in the stock market, especially hedge funds. They lever up. And if money is more expensive to borrow, they do less of that. And any small change in demand for buying stocks impacts the market negatively, of course. Yeah. Okay, Marin, how are you? It's been a while. Marin graduated from my Platinum MBA program last year. She's great. She's from Kenya originally, and she and her father, Samson, and I are going to be building our next school in Kenya. She now lives in the United Kingdom, where she has a couple of great startups. And I can't wait until you let me tell people about your startup, because I want to interview you, and you inspire me. Great to see you. Yeah. So Myron wrote, Chris, good to see you here. Hope you and yours are doing well. So good to have you. Likewise, thank you. And then you wrote, COVID-19 has slowed things down for myself a bit, but doing well now. Yeah, now I hope you're doing well. And I know that you work in the healthcare industry as well, and I hope that your health is well. And a number of my students all over the world, they have COVID now. And they mentioned it during one of our classes earlier this week and last week, and I pray that you all feel better as well. And my son, Andrew, in high school here, he goes to a great public school. 13% of the school has COVID now as well. Yeah. Next up, Midhun wrote, hey, Chris, I just finished your course. One of the 10 goals that I wrote down was to learn about blockchain. Can you suggest where to begin? Yeah. So there is this great teacher who's a super techie who I respect. His name is Kirill. And so go to Udemy and search for his name, Kirill. And he teaches you how to create a blockchain from scratch. Yeah. Now, in terms of programming, I'm getting back to my roots, and I'm going to start releasing courses on programming as well. It's something I'm passionate about, and before I went to Wall Street, I worked 4 years at Accenture as a programmer, or developer as they call it these days. So I'm going to be teaching coding now as well. It's something I love doing. Yeah. Okay. And I'm learning it as I customize a bunch of APIs with respect to how my website talks to my email marketing service, which is called ActiveCampaign. Yeah. All right. And yes, I teach you about APIs in the MBA curriculum as well. Okay. Next up, Patrick wrote, good morning, Chris. Good morning, Patrick. I hope you're doing well. I'm a singer-songwriter. Shamelessly, I'm trying to find any openings into the business. If I sent you some of my work and you don't hate it, can you refer me to somebody you don't know, or somebody that you might know? That was my fault for reading that wrong. Yeah. I don't really know anybody in this industry. I'm so sorry. Yeah. But you can always send it to me if you want to. Yeah. Sorry. All right. But I think the best way to get discovered is to put your stuff online. You know, Colby Kaye, she got discovered through MySpace. Justin Bieber, who's a fellow Canadian. Dear God, please give us back Jim Morrison and take Justin Bieber instead. Thank you. I'm just kidding. Justin's great. But Justin Bieber got discovered by Usher on YouTube. So I think if you put your stuff online everywhere, Spotify, etc., then I think you can get discovered that way. Also, you have to aggressively network. And all these really successful people in the music industry and in business in general, they didn't just get there because they're talented. Same thing with actors. What happens behind the scenes is they aggressively network. That's how they got to where they are. And so you can go to my website, which I mentioned before, and just download my networking book. I think that will help you out materially. It will, yeah. Even Keisha, who's that singer that was, I guess, popular about 10 years ago. What she did was she met with Prince, right? And she tried so hard to meet with him, stayed outside the gates of his house, which I don't recommend doing. God bless you, Prince, he passed away. But that's how she got discovered, yeah. Okay. Next up, Mim wrote, thank you, Chris. Thank you, all the kind people here. We have a wonderful community here as well. The wonderful thing about the MBA program is the students. You'll learn more from the students than you will from me. They're wonderful. They're from all over the world. Yeah. Okay. Next up, Kamendra wrote, I'm 18. How do I start my investing journey? I know about fundamental and technical. Give me 1 second, please. I know about fundamental and technical analysis, but it's boring, but it's important too. How can I make the habit a dedicated when it comes to investing? Yeah. And I know what you're saying. So what I did was I created this course where I pretend that I started a company called MHS, which stands for Morgan Haroun Sachs. Pretend company. And I put you through the training program at my pretend investment bank, and I teach you how to invest as well. And it's a lot of fun. There's gamification involved. And if you want to get that course for free, I'll probably remove this soon. But what you can do is go to my website here. Haroun Education Ventures, and go to the down here. And when you subscribe here, I'll actually send you I'll send you that course for free automatically. It arrives within a couple of minutes, as long as you're not a robot. Yeah. Dude, I can't do this stuff. The hardest one is when they say bicycles and they show motorcycles. I get confused. Yeah, I suck at that. Yeah. Or with traffic lights. Does that mean just the lights or part of the pole as well? I don't know how to do it. Yeah. But I had to put it in because I was getting a lot of spam stuff. Okay. Mark, how are you? Mark goes by Satones. He graduated from my MBA program last year. Great guy. He's based in Detroit. I love you, buddy. Great to see you. Great to see you. So Mark wrote, hey, brothers, great. Hey, brother, great to see you. Likewise. My brother from another mother. I miss you. You wrote, are you familiar with bank instruments like bank guarantees and standby letters of credit? How do you monetize them? Yeah. I don't know if I'm the right person to ask about that, but when it comes to a line of credit, whenever you buy an apartment or a house, when you're about to sign the mortgage, the person at the other end of the table is hungry for the deal. When you're about to sign the mortgage paperwork, right before you sign, I want you to say this. Can I get a line of credit? And it costs them nothing. They'll say yes, for sure. And what that means is this. Let's say you buy a house for $300,000 and you get a mortgage for $200,000. Well, when you sign the paperwork, they can also give you a line of credit for, like, let's just say $30,000. And what that means is this. If you ever need money, God forbid, years down the road, you can get that line of credit for 30 grand. Yeah. And that's what Christina did here. One of my wonderful students, ahead of my alumni community, she and Christian bought this house, and they got a line of credit, and they renovated, and it's smart. She's smart. They're both smart. Okay, moving on to Keith. Keith is from Barcelona. He's in my MBA program. Great to see you. We've got a lot of people from Barcelona in the class now. You wrote, I'm thoroughly enjoying your MBA. It's giving me confidence and useful frameworks. Thanks for keeping it real. And then a wonderful emoji there. Thank you. And thank you for being part of it. This is a very fun journey we're going to go on together. Yeah. And it doesn't end this year because I'll be adding new stuff for free for all of you that sign up for the MBA forever. Yeah. And I will be making it metaverse based somehow, eventually. And this is one of my kids' toys, Nintendo thing. I don't know exactly how I'm going to do it, but it's going to happen. Yeah, and we will be the first university online with metaverse. Now I have to do it because I said it, right? Okay, next up, Peter from Romania wrote, Chris, I know this may be silly, but what video games do you play, and what do you think will be the future of this industry? Yeah, it's all going to be metaverse based. I mean, eventually we're going to be in games, of course. They just got to find a way to do it so you don't get dizzy. I've tried Oculus. I have them all except for HoloLens. And my favorite one is still the 5-year-old PlayStation VR product. The next PlayStation VR product might come out later this year. So the future of gaming and education is going to be metaverse based. In terms of what am I playing right now? So I'm playing Age of Empires 4 on my laptop. I got the first iteration of it back in 1997. I'm an old man, but I love that game. It's so much fun for me. I'm always playing GTA 5 on one of my platforms. Yeah, I always am. It's a great game. Came out in 2013. It still has legs. It's amazing. Aside from that, I'm playing God of War that came out in 2018 on my PS5 now, only because I want to get ready for the new God of War coming out in a couple of months, which is a masterpiece of an adventure game. I thought it was all about fighting. It's not. It's adventure. So I love that game. Next up, I'll be playing Horizon Zero Dawn Part 2, which comes out soon. And I'm always kind of playing Red Dead Redemption Part 2 as well, which is fun. It's dope, as the young people say. Groovy. Yeah. All right, next up, Vincente wrote, what desk do you have? Thank you. Yeah. So this desk, it's a custom one I got, but I'll show you where to get a desk like this. And I bought these for my employees several years ago before COVID when they were working at home. So you go to a website called fully.com, and you can get imitation versions of this for cheaper. They're just as good, I'm sure, on Amazon. And then you go here to standing desks. Okay, and then here you can customize it as well by color, etc. I had this one up until last year. I overused it, and it kind of broke down. Now, you don't have to buy one of these standing desks. What you can do is you can buy these little, and don't buy the treadmill from them. They're gouging you with pricing. It's ridiculous. What you can do instead, if you want to, is you can buy something like this here. See here? Yeah. And I actually have this product here, this one here, on another desk of mine. Yeah, so that's why I recommend. I promise you, if you stand while you work or you exercise while you work with a treadmill underneath, you'll be much more productive and you'll enjoy it too. You get to whistle while you work. Yeah. Next question is from Peter, who wrote, what are some online sites where we can learn about business stuff? Yeah. Yeah, well, the number one go-to is the Financial Times, which I mentioned earlier, because that'll teach you how the world works. But if you're going to go to any websites, I don't want you to read editorials. Meaning, I don't want you to read about what stocks to buy. I just want you to read articles that will teach you about economies and how the world works in general. Now, in terms of how do I get my business news? So every day what I do when I'm brushing my teeth in the morning is I have Alexa. She's not on here, so I can say her name. But I'll say this. Alexa, what's this morning's Wall Street Journal news? And then as I'm brushing my teeth and getting ready, for 5 minutes, Alexa will tell me all the news. And that's all you need to know. Just high level, yeah. Okay, next up, Rosetta wrote, thank you, Chris. I missed the beginning, but I'm still learning a lot. Thank you. It's great to have you. Great to have you. Rosetta, what a wonderful name. For Christmas years ago, my dad, in my stocking stuffer, gave me the Rosetta Stone as a paperweight, which I still have somewhere. I love you, Dada. Okay, Vincente said, hey, Chris, I have work hours during classes and office hours, so I usually have to replay. I'll have a replay of my questions for responding. Awesome. Awesome. Thank you. Yeah. And for MBA students that are in the Gold and Platinum program, we have our office hours as well, starting today at 11:20. It lasts 2 hours every week, and you can always go to the curriculum to watch the replay there as well. Same thing with all the questions after each topic during classes. Yeah. Okay. And then Christina said, Chris, there is the like and dislike option on both YouTube desktop and YouTube app right now. I like your hairstyle today. Thank you. I appreciate that. Excellent. Is that really? Because I thought they got rid of it. Let me go and check. Christina's always right, though. So let me go to, I'll just go here to my website. It's easier. About Chris, daily vlogs. Go to just one of these here.
I was wondering if there are any.
Yeah,
trends.
I only see the like here. See here? Yeah. But if I go to YouTube proper, let's go to YouTube here. Let's see here. So if I go to YouTube, like this one here.
Go to YouTube proper.
Oh, no. Oh, wow. You just heard me say proper again. Like, that was a bad trip, man. Yeah. You're right. It is here, but it won't show up. See how I disliked it? It says in the bottom corner, feedback shared with the creator. Yeah. So, but I don't see any of it on my end as well. But I can always go to analytics on this video to show you more. So I'm sure I'll be able to see it here if anybody dislikes. Yeah. I just think it's not visible now. But you are right. You are right. Okay. Cool. Okay. Let me close this down to conserve bandwidth. Yeah. All right. Next up, Amit, how are you? I'm doing well, thank you. Vincente wrote, here's a couple questions. I want to start a not-for-profit that revolved around serenading the elderly and the sick. I need guidance on where to start with researching regarding copyright laws. I don't know where to start with royalties, etc. The two areas of music will be popular and faith-based music. God bless you for that. Yeah. So if you want to start a not-for-profit, you can still write a business plan. You know, basically the basic building blocks I teach for a for-profit or not-for-profit business plan are the same. However, you also have to talk to a lawyer. And if you're in the United States, I'll have you set up a 501c-based charity. And so you can go to LegalZoom.com and ask them. Now, if you're overseas, you can search for what is your country's equivalent of LegalZoom.com. In terms of copyright, talk to a copyright lawyer as well. What you can do with images and videos, etc., is there's something called Creative Commons. And so if you search for an image or even a piece of music online or a video, if it's part of Creative Commons, you can use it for free, as long as you disclose who wrote the song or that sort of thing. if you have to. So do a search for a wiki and then Creative Commons. In terms of other music, I don't think there's really any copyright laws on. I mean, who's to stop me from singing an old Beatles song? I can do it. If I wanted to do it for not for profit in an old age home, for example, I don't think Paul McCartney would have an issue with that. Yeah, I don't think there's any laws for it. A lot of people are cover bands, and they sing in bars at night. There's YouTube cover bands, Beatles cover bands, etc. And there's no copyright issues there. Yeah. Always talk to a lawyer first, though. Okay. But if you use music on YouTube that is copyright, you will get a copyright notice, which I've gotten before, and I've contested and won. Yeah, because I have licensed it. Yeah. Next up, Amit wrote, how can I join your MBA? I think is what you're typing there. Although all I see is how can I join your, yeah. So all you have to do is go here to my website, okay? Oops. And then up here, you can click buy courses in MBA, and you can sign up right here, okay? And then this here, you get a 30-day, 100% money back guarantee. You got nothing to lose, everything's gained. You can take the whole thing if you want to binge watch it in high-speed chipmunk crisp voice mode, and then get your money back too in 30 days if you want. Yeah. All right. And then Christina wrote, Chris, I can't wait for your new real estate elective course you'll be creating for your MBA degree program later this year. We want to get property in Texas and or Florida. Awesome, awesome. And I'm looking closely at Florida real estate right now. The prices are too high. I'm hoping as interest rates rise that the market will get hit hard there because I'll be backing up the truck and buying real estate in Florida. Yeah, yeah. So many good reasons to live in Florida. Maybe the summer's a little bit too hot with the bugs and stuff too. But for tax reason, it makes sense. And as you know, Tony Robbins moved from the west coast here to Florida years ago for tax reasons. Yeah. And don't mess with Texas. Okay. Eric and John wrote, I'm planning to buy a Suburban 2022. I have friends and family first discount certificate from GM, which used to stand for Government Motors in 2008 when the government owned it. And I learned that really means last. Dealers are stopped to offer that because of short. Yeah, you can't get, like, I went to go buy a car recently, and the waiting list is forever. If you want to get a Tesla, for example, the cheapest Tesla, a base model, you have to wait until October to get it. Yeah, and used prices are more expensive sometimes than new ones. And my son Dylan came up with this brilliant idea that I'm doing, which is this. He said, Dad, since people are paying $20,000, $30,000 more for Teslas now because you can't find them, why don't you order one and then when you get it, sell it? And so that's what I did. And worst case, I lose the down payment on $250 or whatever it is. But yeah. And last night, Elon Musk, when they reported amazing earnings, he also said what they're going to do is they're not releasing any brand new models this year at Tesla. Just because of supply constraints. So, for example, the Cybertruck won't be out this year. But it was brilliant that he announced it a year or two ago because of their competition is getting into that market. Yeah. He is brilliant at social media and marketing as well. Yeah. Okay. Next question from Erkin is, what is your prediction on when this shortage will end? Yeah, shortage of semiconductors and every product. Yeah. So it'll end when governments raise interest rates. Because when interest rates go up, it makes the cost of everything go up as well. And people tend to not invest as much in the economy, etc. Yeah. So I think that's what will happen. So for example, let's say interest rates go up, and I'm going to make this extreme just to prove a point. But let's say that interest rates go up to 25% tomorrow, which would never happen. But let's just say they did. Well, you wouldn't go and buy a car and finance a car at a 25% interest rate. You just wouldn't buy a car at all, right? Or you wouldn't finance it at least. And so what will happen is if fewer people buy cars, that means fewer people are buying semiconductors because cars are basically computers. They have a lot of semiconductors in them, chips, I should say. And so the price will go down for all products in that supply chain for cars. Same thing with houses, rinse, lather, repeat for every industry. Okay. Oh, Demian, how are you? Demian, a very good morning to all the HEV family. Big hug, Chris. Hug right back at you, Demian. Demian is one of my MBA students. He was in silver last year. He upgraded to platinum this year. He's based in Barcelona with his wife and their wonderful daughter as well. He's initially from Venezuela. Great guy. We have a lot of people in Barcelona from the past couple of years that have graduated. Great alumni community. And I miss you. And I can't wait to meet you in person one day as well. Thank you. You always put a smile on my face. Peyton, how are you? Okay, so Peyton Kalahea is on the call now. He graduated last year. He wrote, Chris is the best teacher on the planet. Thank you. Thank you. And so every time Peyton says that, I pay him $20. So Peyton, I owe you $20. No, I'm just kidding. I love you, brother. I love you. Thank you. Thank you. And thank you for coming on the call last week as well and answering all those questions about NFTs and blockchain. Peyton is amazing. And the amazing thing about Peyton is he just launched this YouTube channel. And I'm not an arrogant guy, but I'm a very good judge of talent and character. And Peyton, I said to this a little while ago to Peyton, I said, Peyton, I bet within 1 year you'll be at 100,000 subscribers. And his channel is taken off really, really fast. He's so humble, he doesn't mention it to anybody, but here I'm gonna do it now. So he just started this channel. It's called The Game Report by Peyton Kalahea. So I'm gonna go there with you. Yeah. And Peyton, I linked to you in my weekly email as well. All right, so let's go to the game report by Peyton. Here we go. I guess I could just search for your name. Okay. So here it is here. Look at this, guys. He just launched this, okay? He's got 6,000 subscribers. Like he just literally launched this as well. He's an expert in video games as well. He was on last week to give us his thoughts on Activision, which was fascinating. You can go watch a replay on my website if you want to of that. But he's amazing. He's amazing. So let's check out some of his videos here. Yeah, if you want to learn about video games and all that stuff, NFTs, whatever, check out his videos here. So 5 ways here.
Hey, what's up, fam? Today we're gonna
5 ways to find NFT gaming projects. Right? Look at this, man. I've never had a video like this. 11,000 views, 865 likes. The dislikes are hidden. I'm just kidding, Peyton. I love you. I like it. There you go. Yeah. And look at the resolution as well. He's nailed it all. Oh, good. You add cards now because you got over 1,000 subs. Excellent. Good for you, man. I love it. I love it. Look at that. Look at that. The resolution's great too. He's a Sony guy. Loves to use Sony products. Just like Christian, Christina's husband. Christian works at Sony. And then Peyton wrote that the one-on-ones in my MBA program changed my life. No, thank you. Changed my life because my students inspire me so much. Yeah. Thank you, brother. Great to see you. Great to see you. I miss you. Okay. And then Peter wrote here, Chris, is my first credit card information safe when paying that $1 course that you told us about today? Yeah. Yeah, so it's safe to process it here. So when you have a credit card, the companies take care of any issues you have. That's why you pay the ridiculous 20% fees on credit cards. So if you go to my website here, and I'll go into a private window so that this pop-up shows up. So if you go here at my website, you'll see a pop-up right here. And I have this new 6-hour course, which is based on my book, whatever. You buy it for 99 cents, okay? And so you enroll in the course here and just you put in 99 cents. I actually get 65 cents out of it. So you get, after the processing fees from the e-commerce engine and Teachable, yeah. And that 99-cent course, you get a 30-day 100% money back guarantee as well, yeah. That's how convinced I am you'll like it. And then Peyton wrote, Chris, what do you think of the housing market? An increase in interest rates over the year will lower prices or due to supply chains for building make it more expensive to buy due to builders' cost basis going so low? I'm sitting on cash right now and I'm going to be putting down a down payment. That's right. You just moved from you just moved with Hannah, I think, right? Your wife and your 2 kids from San Diego to Oklahoma. Well, no matter what, I would buy. If you're going to time it, you wait a couple months, whatever. But I don't, it always makes sense to buy because of the ridiculous amount of money you're going to spend on rent. Yeah. And if you buy instead of rent, now if you rent it for $600 a month, every month for like 20 or 30 years, that leads to $5 million in lost net worth in the long run, right? And we ran through the numbers in a spreadsheet in class. So I would buy as soon as you can. Yeah. Especially because mortgage rates are going to go up a bunch. Yeah. Yeah. And of course, the best way to look at real estate, my father used to tell me, and he's great at real estate, he would say, Chris, the three most important things about real estate are location, location, location. And you always want to buy the crappiest house in the nicest neighborhood. Because if you buy the nicest house in a crappy neighborhood, you're going to overpay. It's all about location. And you can go to Zillow.com, of course, as you know, type in the zip code or postal code if you're overseas, and find out what the prices are for houses in an area close to where you want to buy. Yeah, but no, I do think that housing prices will come down if rates go up too much, too fast. Yeah. And that's why the market is down quite a bit now. The market always discounts what's going to happen. And so the market is discounting, 3 or 4 Fed interest rate hikes this year. Yeah. Okay. All right. And then it's always great to see you, brother. All right. Next up, Cyrus. And Peyton was so amazing on that webcast I had when I interviewed him a while back that I had somebody reach out to me to do a talk for $10,000 a day on a cryptocurrency. That's my speaker fee. I couldn't do it, and I introduced them to Peyton, and they want Peyton to do it. Yeah. So if you want, what you can do is go to my YouTube channel, Chris Haroun. Here we go. And then when you're here, look at that ugly guy. When you're here, what you can do is you can go and watch an interview I did with Peyton. Peyton's everywhere, man. Yeah. And then Matt just changed this. Let me know what you guys think of the new banner here, please. Love your feedback. Thanks. But what you can do is go to weekly office hours here, and then you'll scroll through them all, and you'll find Peyton. I did an interview with him. If you want to learn everything there is to know about blockchain, cryptocurrency, etc., you can just go there. I really butchered that. Yeah. Let me actually go to my website and show you quickly here. Couple senior moments here, Peyton, for me. All right, so let's go to About Chris, and then we go to weekly webcast here. And you can scroll down and see an interview with Todd Martin, who created CNBC's first studio. And he's a Web 3.0 expert, one of my students from last year. But you'll also see an interview with Peyton. Here it is here. So this was weekly office hours number at 155. Yeah. Okay. Cyrus wrote here, hey, Chris, I haven't seen you for, I have seen you for a while. Thank you. I started working before Christmas, but I got COVID last week from my supervisor. Oh, my God. I'm so sorry to hear that, man. So sorry to hear that. A lot of us are getting it. Yeah. And then you wrote, that made staying at home and continuing learning my silver MBA program nice. Awesome. God bless you, man. I hope you feel better. Yeah. All right. My little sister got it too. Her whole family, they're fine now. But and my sister-in-law, Marguerite, her whole family got it. They just got over it. Thank goodness. Yeah. All right. All right, and then next up, Cyrus wrote, Chris, I found my work as accounting assistant is customized me for their company. The accounting software does not use 99%. Hold on a second. The accounting software does not use for 99% of the company. I think quitting earlier is the best decision. Skills should be marketable instead of being only customized. Yeah. Before you quit, if you want, what you can do is this. You can go to Upwork.com and you can start doing services on the side to see if you can make a decent living that way, and then quit if it comes to customizing software and other products. Yeah. And I posted something on last night actually on Upwork. I'm trying to do some advanced API work. Yeah. Okay. And again, I hope you feel better. Yeah. All right. Next up, Rodrigo wrote, good morning, Chris. Rodrigo from Vancouver here. Good morning to you as well. My mom was born in Vancouver. You wrote, how are you? I'm great, thank you. I'm great. Then you wrote, and I hope you're doing well. You wrote, I have a question for you. What do you think about NFTs? Yeah. So if you want a better opinion, reach out to Peyton or go to gamereport.io. But in general, like with any new markets, there's a lot of froth. And history does repeat itself. You go to 1636 and 1637 in Holland, people were buying tulip bulbs, and the price of tulip bulbs went up thousands of times within a year or two. It was a bubble. History repeated itself back in 1999 as well, and eventually when the market peaked in Internet Bubble 1.0, when it peaked in March of 2000. It happened again with real estate. It's happening now with NFTs, and it happened with cryptos. So just be careful. Anytime there's a new market, there's a lot of crap out there. But the one common element you can look at with all investment classes is supply. If the supply of anything is limited and demand is high, obviously, and increases, then the price will increase. So when it comes to NFTs, you want to make sure that the supply is low. And the best way to explain this is, let's say that you want to buy a painting for your wall, and it's a print. And in the corner of that painting, it will say, print number 16 out of 300. So there's only 300 of those out there. And that's what an NFT is like. It's like digital art with limited supply. Make sure the supply really is limited as well for NFTs, and put only a tiny amount of your liquid net worth in them. And follow Gary Vee. I think he's great as well when it comes to NFTs. He's a realist, he's bullish, but he's also skeptical at the same time. Yeah. And NFTs, most of them are made on the Ethereum platform. And for more details on Ethereum and cryptos, et cetera, you can always take my MBA program. Now, if you're ever curious about my humble thoughts on anything, I've answered a ridiculous number of questions online over the past couple of years. And I hired this German software company called 360 Search. I pay them $100 a month for what I'm about to show you now. Here, you can type up anything. And right here, it'll give you my thoughts on all this stuff. So for example, NFTs Explained, I guess I did this one earlier this year. You can learn about this here if you want to. Yeah. And this one actually has made me a bunch of money as well, humbly, but yeah. Or what you can do is you can type up, I don't know, income statement, and you can even make spelling mistakes. It'll fix it for you because I make mistakes all the time. And see vlogs on income statements. Or if you want to do my MBA program, you can click here to find out where in the curriculum I cover that. And that goes for any business topic. I've talked about everything here, so you can type up anything you want to. Okay. And Patrick wrote here, Age of Empires is the best game ever made. Dude, I love it so much. And it was made by Ensemble Studios many years ago, back in the 90s, as subcontracted by Microsoft. And the brilliance of it is that Ensemble Studios made AoE 1, 2, 3, 4 in the Greek mythology version. But another company made AoE 4, which is rare. Rarely do you have a new company work on a piece of IP and make it just as good. Yeah, I love it, though. It's fun. And then Eric and John wrote here, oh my God, I play Age of Empires 4 too, and I love it. Oh my, dude, it's so good. All right, a lot of people out there are thinking, WTF, why the face? This is rated G now. I'll show you AoE 4 here really, really quickly, okay? And it's so fun. I usually mute it when I play, so I have TV on the background. But let's go here, AoE 4. It's amazing. It really, really is great. And so basically what you do is you create a society from scratch. And then what happens is you build up the city as fast as you can, right? So this here is somebody building up the city. You create city walls, you mine gold. You also mine stone to make walls, as well as trees for building archers, etc. It's fun. I love it. And the graphics are amazing too. It's great. Yeah. I love it. Anyway, check it out if you want to. Oh, the Ultimate Wall Troll. I love creating the walls here as well. I'm more of a defensive player than offensive, but I'm incredibly passionate about it. Anyway, I'm going to stop nerding out here. But I love this game. Yeah. And my favorite is to get the Chinese civilization. You can pick different civilizations all over the world, 12 of them. The Chinese civilization is the best, especially with the walls. And when you reach Ming Dynasty level, you can create these amazing archers and flamethrowers. I'm going to stop now. Okay. All right. And then Rajiv wrote, I love you, Prof. Haroun. You're a fatherly figure to me. I love you more. Thank you. Thank you. And I haven't had very much dad humor today, but dad humor is starting to brew. I'll think of an awful joke. Yeah. So what I'm going to be doing actually soon. Okay, here's the dad here. It's coming. It'll be embedded here. You'll see. And God bless you. But what I'm doing is Matt, my chief creative officer, and I we have a very good friend who his company catered our MBA graduation and alumni event last year. And this guy's company is called Saj, okay, S-A-J-J. It's like Chipotle, but for Middle Eastern food. It's growing like crazy. They're doing amazingly well. And so what we're going to do is we're going to go interview him and ask him how he grew his business from scratch. He's a wonderful success story, immigrated from Jordan a couple decades ago, worked in the semiconductor industry, killed it. Our kids are best friends. And then he started this Mediterranean restaurant chain. And so he sells falafel as well. And I told him, your marketing campaign should be this. Here at Saj, if you eat our falafel, you won't feel awful. Very, very awful. Oh my God, cringeworthy dad humor. Like my kids who are going to parties now. Dad, drop me off a block away from the house, please. Yeah. Okay. And next up, Erkin John wrote, I try not to play Age of Empires 3 because I can easily spend 2 to 3 hours. Yeah. Yeah. And I got an hour less sleep last night than I should have because I was playing it as well. Yeah. And I monitor my heart here. My sleep pattern, and I'll show you how I monitor it as well. It's the Oura Ring, which I like. I'm glad I bought it. At first, I wasn't too happy about it, but it'll synchronize in a minute. It's trying to sync, and when it does, I'll show you my sleep quality. Hold on a second. Yeah. It will tell you your readiness, too, which means, like sometimes if you exercise when you're about to get sick, you'll really get sick. This will stop you from exercising from a readiness perspective. All right. It's still synchronizing. When it does, I'll show you what it looks like. All right. But I did get less sleep last night because of AOE, Age of Empires. All right. Okay, next question is, how do we know when share prices will fall? Yeah. So it's too tough to call. We just don't know in the near term because, and I mentioned this before, I don't think anybody should quit their job to become a trader because stocks go up or down in the near term because of random things we can't forecast. And so I always recommend being a long-term investor. And so for me, I do a lot of research on companies, and I value companies based on my earnings estimates in 5 or 10 years. And then what I do is I take the price of the stock today divided by my earnings estimate in 5 or 10 years. And instead of the stock looking like it's 100 times earnings, it's 3 times earnings for me, for example. And then I hold on for dear life. And I never know the path of a stock, but I always know the destination, or I try to at least, if I do my due diligence. I don't know the path, but I know the destination. And by doing deep research based on the tools I provide you with in my MBA program, you'll become an investor and a long-term holder instead of a tourist. You won't merely rent the stock and sell it when everybody else does, like everyone's doing now. Last thing I'll say about that is Warren Buffett once said, the New York Stock Exchange is the only store in the world where consumers sell stuff when it goes on sale. Think about that. All right. Okay. Rosetta wrote, please, could you also create a course on NFTs and the metaverse? Your cryptocurrency course was just what I needed to get started with trading cryptos, and it saved me from losing a lot of money. Awesome. That's music to my ears. Thank you. Thank you for that. God bless you. Saved you from losing a lot of money, because I've had a lot of students that have been scammed big time. Excellent. That makes my day. Thank you. In terms of NFT course, a couple of things I want to tell you to do. If you want to learn everything about NFTs, the first thing you do, the go-to place on the web, is you go to this company called GameReport.io. And basically you can learn all about NFTs, blockchain, etc. Here from scratch, right? And this is run by Peyton Kalawahea, who's amazing. He's great. What you can also do if you want to learn about metaverse is you can always go to my website, harounventures.com, and you can do a search for meta or metaverse here. Let's see if something comes up. Yeah, here you go. Is the metaverse the future? Wow, this is me years ago. This is what my webcast used to look like, guys, here. Years ago. Look at this. This is web number 12. My Toronto Maple Leafs T-shirt using my 720p. I don't even remember how I did that call. Webcam. Ridiculous. Yeah. But what you do is you can learn about the metaverse here by clicking on any of these videos. You can also search NFT. If I cover it in my curriculum, etc., you'll be able to link to that as well. And thank you. Yeah. I've aged. Okay. Okay. Next up, I have got here. Hold on a second. Okay, so Sunder wrote, are you planning to start any partnership program for your students that provide earnings opportunity for fresher? Yeah. So there's the website where I sell my courses is called Teachable. And what Teachables has done is they have this affiliate program they just rolled out where your students can sell your courses and your students get money on their credit card right away, like 10 or 20%. And so I haven't really marketed that, but if anybody wants to make money doing that, selling my courses or my MBA program through the affiliate program, then what you can do is just email support@harounventures.com and we'll get back to you if you're interested. And let me show you more details on this. So if I go to my Gmail here, it's a loud helicopter. Yeah. So let's go to, I think it was in the affiliate program here. Let me do a search for affiliate. Must be Teachable. Give me 1 second. Teachable. Yeah. Yeah. So Teachables has an affiliate program as well. Let me do one more quick search here. All right, Teachable. Aha, here it is here. Okay. So what you can do is there's something called a student referral feature. Where you can actually get paid for selling my courses, and so I'll give you all 20% if you're interested, whatever, on making money on the side as a side hustle if you're interested. Okay, and it'll go automatically to your credit card if you bought course on my website, whatever. If you're interested in doing this, you can just go to email support@harounventures.com. Yeah. All right, Andre, who's in my MBA program, how are you? Andre said, what's the name of the German company that made bear sweatshirts? You interviewed him and his father a few months ago. Yeah. So it's called Grizzy. And so here's the product here. Okay. And it looks pretty cool. And what I'll do is I'll hang this up here in the background for a minute or so. And I'll go to the website. So the website is called Grizzyware. Hold on a second. Grizzy-wear.com. And it was founded by Julian Popov and his son Martin. There we go. And they did my MBA program like 2 years ago or something. But I'll go there with you. So let's go to Grizzyware. And you guys have no idea how many props are on the ground here and how messy this place is. It looks clean, but it's not. Yeah. All right. So here's the product here. And what he did was he set this up entirely on Shoppable. Okay. Or Shopify. So Shopify, a great Canadian company, the biggest market cap in Canada now. What you can do is you can set up a store on Shopify.com, and they'll host your website. You pay like $20 or $30 a month, and that's how we did this entire store, right? So all this stuff here is done on Shopify. Yeah. So here's the product. Yeah, and that's Martin, actually, Julian's son. Yeah, and what I did was, I think it was during the summer, last summer, I did an interview with them. If you want to learn more about his company and how he did it from scratch, and a lot of the questions that my viewers had here, you can go back to my previous webcasts last summer, I think. Yeah, I can't believe I went to Rwanda, and the week before I went to Rwanda last year, I interviewed Julian here. Yeah. So anyway, you can go there and watch a replay of that if you're interested, and buy a Grizzy shirt while you're at it if you want. This stuff's high quality. Yeah. Okay. I'm getting hungry. Okay. All right. Next up, I got a question. And if anybody has questions, type them up here, please. Next up, questions from Patel, who wrote, recently, a lot of people talk about federal macroeconomics. I've learned about interest rates, but I haven't found information about the Fed balance sheet. Recently, the Fed mentioned they're planning to cut the assets. Yeah, I don't know where you get that. I guess you can go to treasury.gov and find it there. Let's go there together. Let's try it out. Never had this question. This will be fun. All right, let's go to Treasury. Data. Let's see here. Oops, hold on a second. Data. And this is where we get the yield curve stuff for interest rates. I guess here at national debt. Oh, here we go. Yeah. So you can find out how your money is spent here, right? This is probably the income statement of the federal government, which is certainly running at a loss and has been for ages. You can go here to find out about quarterly reports, I guess, for the government, debt management overview. So in terms of the balance sheet, it'll probably be included somewhere here because, debt is part of the liability side of the balance sheet. Yeah. So you can look here at monthly treasury statement. It's probably here. Monthly statement of public debt, debt limit, etc. So it's all right here. So if I go here to monthly statement of the public debt, what I can do is I can actually look at all this stuff here. You can probably download a lot of data as well if you want to, and just kind of look through this. Yeah. And this is in the millions here, right? So yeah. So whenever you buy bonds, you can see how many have been issued here. Yeah. Oh, they even have an API for it if you want to plug in directly to it. That's pretty cool, man. Yeah. So there you go. Okay. Rosetta wrote, thank you once more for answering my questions. You're most welcome. Yeah. And then next question is, what is with DiDi? Any chances for the share to go up? Yeah, I don't even know what that is. Let's check it out here together. Yeah, DiDi is my hairdresser. Yeah, here in Burlingame, California. I canceled my appointment with her tomorrow because I've jammed my hair. I want it to get a bit longer. Okay. DiDi Global. Okay, let's look at this company together. Let me know if this is what you're talking about or if it's something else. Yeah. If it's this stock here, wow, it looks like a pretty low share price. And if the stock price of a company goes below $4 for an extended period of time, what happens is they get delisted from the stock market and they join the pink sheets, which means their ticker goes from four letters to 5 letters. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know much about this company. You're probably asking what's up with it because it probably got murdered or hit hard. And maybe you're talking about a different company. Yeah, so this stock here went from $16 last summer down to $4 now. I've never heard of them. Give me a second. This will be fun. Oops, don't ever go to Outlook there. Always do your own research. Profile. Okay. It's a Chinese company. All right, DiDi Global, software company. Yeah, I don't know anything about this company. Sorry. But if you want to learn about how to do investment research on this company from scratch, you can take my MBA program, and I have many templates like this where I ask you questions, which all feeds into a detailed report or a one-page executive summary, as well as lots of charts. And using this process, you can analyze the qualitative, quantitative, and financial research aspects of DiDi, for example, or any company. Yeah. Okay. All right, next up, Mim wrote 2 quick questions. Number 1, I'm located in St. Louis. Awesome, very cool. And I have a student there named Isaiah who took my MBA program last year, and he networked using the concepts I taught him to get a job with a top venture capital firm working for the founder of Reddit, who used to live around the corner from me, along with one of the Williams sisters. But I'm going to show you this guy. Okay, he's from St. Louis as well, Missouri, the show me state. The show me the way out state. I'm just kidding. But it's a great state. I love it. I love Ozzie Smith too. So his name is Isaiah. Yeah. So he's now in Vegas working there, but he was in St. Louis last year when he networked, right? And so what he did was he networked a lot using the stuff I teach you as well as the financial analysis templates. And he got this dream job by networking. And so the venture capital firm he works at is called 776. And then here, the founder of 776 is the guy that founded Reddit. It's a $10 billion company, Reddit, which is going public very, very soon. But anyway, you can do more research here if you want to. Yeah. And Isaiah actually introduced one of my students to that founder recently. One of my students is he's Armenian, and so is the founder of Reddit, and he made that intro, which is nice. Okay, so I'm located in St. Louis. Do you think it's better to start my LLC here, or should I go to Texas? Yeah. So I don't know much about the tax code in Missouri, but I would think it's probably better in Texas. What I would probably do is go to LegalZoom.com and pay $30 to talk to a lawyer. Okay, I think you got to do a 6-month contract, so it's $180. And talk to a lawyer there, a tax attorney, and ask them. Yeah. And then your second question is any angel investment you recommend for me to get in contact with? Yeah. So the best way, it's a very fragmented market when it comes to angel investors. There are some institutional firms that do that, like Band of Angels, for example, out here. But the best thing to do is just to leverage LinkedIn with the stuff that I cover in my book. Go to harounventures.com, download my networking book, and I'll teach you there. And it works, I promise you. It's free. How to network aggressively to get meetings with high net worth investors. And you're doing the right thing, because high net worth investors, the sales cycle is a lot shorter, rather than speaking with a venture capital firm, which is a long sales cycle. Yeah. And then you wrote, thanks so much in advance. You're most welcome. Moving on to Solomon, who wrote, what is the certificate in the business field that can bring an employee a salary that exceeds $200,000 per year? Yeah. I don't really know if there's a certificate in that area. I don't really know how to answer that question. I know that if you go to, some Ivy League MBA schools, if you network a lot, you might get a job at like a Goldman Sachs for that kind of amount. Yeah. And when I graduated from Columbia in 2000, I feel uncomfortable saying this, but my base and bonus and all that stuff at Goldman first year was, that amount. Yeah. Okay. Sorry for saying that. Okay. Next up, Solomon wrote, thank you for answering my questions in advance, my teacher. My pleasure. Thank you for being here. Yeah. All right. Moving on to Jay Neal, who wrote, I enrolled in your complete financial analyst course. It's worth every investment. Thanks for creating it and sharing your knowledge. And I love your emojis, and God bless you. And thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thanks. I had a lot of fun making that too. And when I made that course, I thought to myself, I wish I was able to watch a course like that before I went to Wall Street. It would have made things a lot easier. Yeah. And, these professional money managers on Wall Street or Bay Street in Toronto or whatever, Canary Wharf in the United Kingdom, they've got nothing on you now, because you can learn to invest better than they can by taking online courses. You can. Don't learn about theory, though. Learn about real practical stuff, which is what I teach. And the harsh reality is that people don't talk about this, but since 2002, mutual funds have massively underperformed ETFs, exchange traded funds. And one of the reasons is because Elliot Spitzer, who was a senator from New York at the time in 2002, he created a new legal code called Regulation FD. And Regulation FD stands for Fair Disclosure. And it became law in 2002 that no publicly traded company in America was allowed to give any information to institutional investors like hedge funds or mutual funds before us, the retail investors. And so what that means is when a company has an important press release, you and I get it at the same time at sec.gov or the company's investor relations website. When a company releases their quarterly numbers or says anything important to the public, we find out at the same time through a webcast online. It is against the law since 2002 for any CEO of any publicly traded company to tell any investor information that's going to move the stock unless they tell everybody, ourselves included, through like a webcast online. Yeah. Okay, next up, Satoshi's Shorts wrote, I'm working as a business hub manager, but I'm overqualified for this role, but I took it as I needed the money. I have a PMP, a Six Sigma black belt, and solid experience. But I'm frustrated as there are a lot of openings and I feel like I'm being ignored even though I have the skills. And that's impacting my performance lately. And I get upset very quickly. Sorry to hear that. And I started to take everything personally. How can you be emotionally intelligent, as I feel that this is my biggest weakness? Yeah, you're not alone. I'm with you. So when life gives you lemons, you make lemonade, and perception becomes reality. And so rather than being frustrated about it, embrace that frustration. And I say this with love in my heart, do something about it. Let me help you. Embrace that frustration by doing a ton of informational meetings and networking to get your next gig, your next job. And if you feel like at the company you're at right now, there's no way you can progress, partially because your manager views you as overqualified and kind of sees you as a threat, which has happened to me before, then you can aggressively network to get a better job. Now, the way to get a job is not by sending in your resume when they ask for it, meaning this. If you go to a company's website and they say they're hiring, and here's where to send the resume, statistically, your chances of getting that job just by sending your resume, statistically, is about 1 out of 250. The person that gets that job always knows somebody at the company, or almost always. So what do? Well, you solve for X. You meet people at that company. How do you do it? You set up a ton of networking meetings. You meet with tons of people at that company using my methodology that I talk about here on my website. Okay, just download this networking book. You meet a ton of people at that company by networking. Okay, and people will meet with you if you use my methodology in this book, I promise you. And then during those networking meetings, after you bond with them, always bond before business, and you help them with their career, and I teach you how in that book and in my MBA program in way, way more detail. If you help them, they'll help you. Give and receive. It's prophetic. It's been true since the beginning of time. This methodology works. And if I told you that if you did 30 informational meetings using LinkedIn, okay, 30, that you would get the job of your dreams, would you do it? Of course you say yes. Please, everybody, follow through and do this. It works exceptionally well. In fact, when I used to teach during the evenings in universities, now my favorite school is San Francisco State because there's no entitlement there. You know, some of the kids come from money, but there's a lot of people that come from tough backgrounds. At least the students I had, and my favorite kind of students are those that are poor, smart, and hungry, and not entitled. That's why I love San Francisco State more than any other university I've ever taught. The best students ever. But what I would do is this. On the first day of classes, it was a 10-week course I taught, undergrad and MBA as well. On the first day of classes, what I would do is I would tell my students, and I usually had like 70 students in a class. It was awesome. I would say this. I would say, if over the next 10 weeks, if I told you that you did 10 informational meetings over the next 10 weeks, that you would get your dream job, would you do those 10 informational meetings? And then it's like the wave, 70 hands go up. Everyone's like, oh, hell yeah, dog. I'll do that for sure. It's kind of silly seeing a 50-year-old man-child trying to talk cool. Groovy. So then what I would do is on the last day of classes, right before the final exam, I would ask my students, okay, 10 weeks have gone by. How many of you did 10 informational meetings? No hands would go up. How many did 9? No hands would go up. How many did 8? A couple of hands would go up. And those hands that went up were the students that never got the top grades. But those are the students that got their dream jobs. I promise you this works. Check out my book for more details, or even much more details. Take my MBA degree program. I guarantee you, I will teach you how to network on steroids to get anything you want or your money back. There's a 30-day, 100% money back guarantee. Go to harounventures.com. Sign up today. I promise you it works. Your network is your net worth, and relationships are more important than product knowledge. That's why so many people with high school degrees go from the mailroom to the corner office. They become CEOs because they know how to network. Here's just some examples. David Geffen. He's a multi-billionaire now. He started Geffen Records and DreamWorks with Katzenberg and Spielberg. He started the mailroom. Same thing with Barry Diller. Same thing with Sidney Weinberg, who was the CEO of Goldman Sachs for a couple decades. High school degree, started in the mailroom. The same thing with the former president of ESPN and the former editor-in-chief of Cosmopolitan magazine, and Simon Cowell from American Idol. They all have one thing in common. They networked aggressively to get what they want. And in business, you only have to be right one time. And if you network like crazy and you're cool with people not responding to you in terms of taking those meetings, but I promise you, if you do that in the long run, you will get what you want in life. The bottom line is relationships are more important than product knowledge. Don't send in your resume blindly. Set up networking meetings with people at companies you want to work at. I promise you this works. Okay. All right, next up we got Roy. Hey, Roy. He wrote, "Hey, Chris, what's the difference between," and I'm smiling because whenever I see your name, I either think of Patrick Roy, the great goalie from the Montreal Canadiens, or I think of Succession, my favorite TV show ever. Yeah, and Roy is the family that, it's like Rupert Murdoch's family kind of, but in that show. And if you guys haven't watched Succession, you got to watch it. Especially Macaulay Culkin's brother, Kieran Culkin. His one-liners are hysterical. Yeah, and I watched the entire series twice, and I never do that. Yeah, watch Succession. It's great. So Roy wrote here, "Hey, Chris, what's the difference between personal finance, corporate finance, FA, and government FA?" Yeah, and by FA, I think you mean finance and accounting. Yeah. So personal finance is basically learning how to manage your personal budget, how to save money, make your nest egg grow, save for retirement, that sort of thing. Okay. When it comes to corporate finance means helping companies manage their finances and grow through acquisitions, for example. Whenever you hear of somebody that works in the corporate finance department of a big firm, it means they work on kind of strategic deals, partnerships, M&A, that sort of thing. In terms of the other parts of your question, government finance and accounting, there are plenty of government roles in finance. So the Department of the Treasury, you can go to treasury.gov, is probably the department everybody thinks of when it comes to a government-related finance job, right? But there's many other subcommittees in the government that deal with accounting and finance as well. In addition to the Federal Reserve, there's also the Department of the Treasury, et cetera. Yeah. Okay. Hopefully I answered your question. Julie, how are you? Oh my God, Julie, it's been years. So Julie and I, we worked at Goldman Sachs at the same time. She actually was one of the people that created the Community Teamworks part of Goldman Sachs, where we donate a couple days per year of our time to work at charitable ventures. And when I was at Goldman, we overlapped through CTW, Community Teamworks. I went up to Harlem and helped build schools and stuff. It was kind of fun, or put computers in schools. Yeah. Great to see. And Julie graduated from my MBA program 2 years ago. She's wonderful. She's from Pennsylvania. She lives in Germany. She worked in wealth management in Germany. And her brother has a solar-based company as well. She's wicked smart. She's funny as well. Great to see you. You made my day. So Julie wrote here, "Hi, Chris. Can I get my money back on the MBA?" No, I'm just kidding. I made that up. Sorry. "Hi, Chris. I'm in talks with a boutique firm to hang my license with and partner to do a small business retirement business. Any advice on this?" Yeah. Let me think about this. Okay, so they're probably going to get some sort of a cut. Yeah. I would try to understand what value that boutique firm brings to you. So they're probably going to offer you some sort of infrastructure, meaning you'll get to use their office, their brand name, their technology infrastructure as well. But aside from that, what else can they do for you? You know, if they're going to give you a base salary to pay the bills, great. If not, I don't really know if it makes sense to partner with them. If they're going to help introduce you to clients, which they probably won't, then that would help as well. So for me, the bottom line, whenever I have a tough decision in life, I remember we covered this in the MBA curriculum. What I like to do is I like to use Microsoft Excel. And I create, remember, two different columns, right? So one is job A I take or job B. Then what I do is I create about 100 rows of questions. Like, will I make more money at this job? Will I enjoy it more? Will I have to travel? What are the people like? And then I score out of 10 or whatever it is, each criteria, and then add them up. Whatever score is the highest at the bottom, that's what I take. And when you do this analysis for this boutique firm you might be partnering with, the things I would put on the rows, for example, as you assess the viability of this direction to take, are what is the benefit they're giving you rather than you go it alone? And I hope they provide you with a base salary, and I hope they provide you with an office and infrastructure, and they're probably going to take a cut of the money that you bring in as well. But I would also think to yourself, what can I learn from them so that eventually I don't need them and I could start my own company so I can control my own destiny and live my life on my own terms and keep 100% of the profits. Yeah. It is so great to hear from you. And if that didn't answer your question, or if you want to drill down further, please let me know. God bless you. Great to see you. I remember you told me you grew up on a farm as well. You showed me that the video is pretty cool. Yeah. All right, skill testing question. And Julie, you can't answer this, only other people. Why is it that barns are painted red? And no, you can't Google this, folks. So answer that. If anybody answers it, you win nothing, but it's kind of fun. I'll tell you the answer as well in a minute. All right, next up, I've got Mim, who wrote, Chris, I just want to say it's amazing to see how kind and humble you are. Thank you. Spending hours answering everyone's questions patiently. You're amazing. Thanks for doing this. God bless you. Thank you. It's fun for me. And you'll know that you found your passion in life when it's not a job. It's a passion. I look forward to this. I love it. I love it. I love it. And I spent too many years, trying to chase careers to impress other people in my life. And eventually, as Sir Richard Branson says, I said, screw it, let's do it. And I just started teaching. It's what I want to do. And people thought I was crazy for years. I still do. But when they think you're crazy, that's a good thing. When everybody is doing it, meaning going to teach online, then it's too late. And it's still early. We're still in the second inning of a 9-inning game when it comes to online education. And I love it. Yeah. At first, they think you're crazy. Then you get a little bit of success. They think you're a crazy genius. And then eventually, they think you're a genius. I'm still cray-cray. I always will be. I'll never be genius level. But look at this here, man. All right. So when you see this picture here, right here, what do you think? What's the first thing that comes to your mind? It's not crazy. It's genius. So at first they think you're crazy. Then you get some success. You're a crazy genius. And then you invent E equals MC squared. And then you're just genius. I'm still in the crazy stage, and I always will be. Yeah. I'm always going to stay humble and stay foolish. Yeah. As Steve Jobs wrote. Okay. All right, guys. Well, on that note, I want to thank you all for being part of the 169th weekly webcast. If you get a chance, go to my website, and you can actually get my new 6-hour course for only 99 cents. And the way to find it is you go here. I'll just go into private mode here. You go here, and you will see a pop-up. Okay, and it only appears, I think, one time every 2 weeks. I set it up that way. Okay, and you can click buy for 99 cents. Okay, and then there's also a special offer in here for my biggest product at a massive discount. You'll see if you click there. So anyway, I want to thank you all for your time. This was fun. It gets more funner, as my kids used to say, every single week. We're just getting started here. If you're a gold or platinum MBA student, I'll see you at 11:20 today for our weekly 2-hour office hours. If not, God bless you. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. Click like and subscribe, please. It helps us. Have a wonderful weekend. Stay safe, stay happy, stay healthy. And I'll see you next Thursday and every Thursday forever, starting at 8 a.m. my time. And as with all these classes, I end it with this video that I licensed from the Silicon Valley Historical Association of Steve Jobs giving some inspirational thoughts here. Thank you and God bless you.
When you grow up, you tend to get told that the world is the way it is, and your life is just to live your life inside the world, try not to bash into the walls too much, try to have a nice family life, have fun, save a little money. But life, that's a very limited life. Life can be much broader once you discover one simple fact, and that is everything around you that you call life was made up by people that were no smarter than you. and you can change it. You can influence it. You can build your own things that other people can use. And the minute that you understand that you can poke life and actually something will, if you push in, something will pop out the other side, that you can change it, you can mold it, that's maybe the most important thing, is to shake off this erroneous notion that life is there and you're just going to live in it, versus embrace it, change it, improve it, make your mark upon it. I think that's very important. And however you learn that, once you learn it, you'll want to change life and make it better, because it's kind of messed up in a lot of ways. Once you learn that, you'll never be the same again.